Chapter 884. Most people's hearts would have melted into a puddle of water when they saw this scene. No matter what the little fellow wanted, they would give it to him. However, Su Yiyan only smiled and said, "You're still too young. You won't be able to digest this. When you're older, Mommy will make more for you." After saying that, she twisted the chopsticks and sent the small piece of meat pie into her mouth. Little Xingxing watched as the fragrant little thing flew into his mommy's mouth. When he reached out again, there was nothing in front of the chopsticks. It's gone. Little Xingxing's expression was blank for a moment. Then, his little mouth pouted and he started to cry. Ever since the little fellow was born, other than when he came out of his mommy's womb and cried so loudly, he was mostly teary-eyed and did not make a sound. It was rare for him to be so emotional. Now that he started crying, the adults present, including the culprit, Su Yiyan, were all shocked. Su Yiyan was stunned for a few seconds before she reacted. She reached out to carry the child, but realized that her hand was still holding the chopsticks. While she was in a daze, the nanny had already stepped forward to carry the child and coax him softly. The little fellow stopped crying very quickly. He only stared at the chopsticks in Su Yiyan's hand with tears in his eyes. His big eyes were full of accusation. Su Yiyan coughed softly and guiltily hid the chopsticks under the table, trying to destroy the evidence. Unexpectedly, it would have been better if Su Yiyan did not hide it. Once she did, the little fellow thought of the missing meat pie. His little chubby face scrunched up and he started to cry again. Su Yiyan, Hua Qinhuan. The corners of Hua Qinhuan's mouth twitched. He instinctively looked at his wife. Su Yiyan received his gaze and instinctively spread her hands to show that she was really innocent this time. Hua Qinhuan, the little guy was still young, so the food on the table definitely couldn't be given to him to eat. The nanny hugged and coaxed him for a while, but when she saw that he was still staring at the dining table and crying non-stop, she could only look at Su Yiyan for help. Su Yiyan was also a little embarrassed. Her ears were slightly red as she said awkwardly, "Take him upstairs and play with him for a while. We'll go over after we finish eating." Yuan was by the nanny's side now. It would only be a short while, so she was not afraid of any trouble. The nanny hurriedly carried the child upstairs as if she had been granted amnesty. Su Yiyan watched as her baby's small figure gradually disappeared into the distance and her cries became more and more indistinct. She let out a long sigh and said worriedly, "I'm afraid she's going to be a little foodie in the future. She cries like this just because she stutters. I don't know who she inherited it from." Hua Qinhuan, who inexplicably felt that she had been implicated. "You were the one who deliberately teased him with food and bullied him until he cried. Now you're trying to shift the blame to the genes." Not long after the child was taken away, his cries stopped. Out of sight, out of mind, and with a little toy, he temporarily forgot about the unhappiness just now. Su Yiyan looked calm on the surface, but she was actually a little guilty in her heart. Now that she heard the crying, she let out a sigh of relief and continued eating. Hua Qinhuan glanced at the 3 dishes in front of her, then looked at the soup and small meat patties in front of Su Yiyan. A slight smile immediately appeared in her eyes. She said that it was for the baby, but in the end, she was eating happily. She snatched the baby's food and even made him cry. This little liar, Su Yiyan, who was completely unaware that she had become a little liar in a certain someone's eyes, finished a bowl of longan porridge and a few steamed meat patties. Chapter 885. She didn't have a big appetite and didn't eat much at night. She didn't prepare much food for herself. On the other hand, Hua Qinhuan's bowl of dry pot chicken was quite big. There weren't many spicy rabbit heads, but there was still a big bowl of duck blood curd. Uncle Zhang also ate a little because of Hua Qinhuan. However, old people couldn't eat too much spicy food and were afraid of indigestion at night. In general, he didn't eat much. More than half of the remaining food went into Hua Qinhuan's stomach. After dinner, Su Yiyan couldn't help but reach out and touch Hua Qinhuan's stomach. That's strange. There was so much food just now. Where did it all go? Hu Qinhuan grabbed Su Yiyan's hand that was touching his stomach. Even if he was calm, he couldn't guarantee that his gun wouldn't go off when his wife touched him like this. Although he wanted to do her right now, he restrained himself when he thought of the doctor's instructions. I'm a man. I have a big appetite. I know you have a big appetite. I mean, where did you eat so much? It was fine that his stomach didn't bulge, but he actually had abdominal muscles. Before his legs recovered, he stayed at home every day and did some rehabilitation exercises occasionally to prevent his legs from shrinking. She could understand why he had developed abdominal muscles. Later, when Hu Qinhuan's legs recovered and she was pregnant, he was basically by her side all the time except for work. After she gave birth, Hu Qinhuan took over the Hu group. With 2 big companies in his hands, he was so busy that he didn't have time to exercise at all. He ate so much and didn't exercise, but he didn't lose his shape at all. Was this really scientific? Maybe I'm not born to be fat. In the past, he didn't pay much attention to food. However, when he was with Su Yiyan, he was fed 3 meals a day on time. Occasionally, there would be snacks and afternoon tea. Especially during Su Yiyan's pregnancy and confinement, the family made delicious food for her in various ways. However, in fact, most of the food went into his stomach. This was also the main reason why most husbands would quickly swell up like a ball during their wives' pregnancy. However, Hu Qinhuan did not gain any weight even after eating so much. Su Yiyan pouted and said with a hint of envy, jealousy, and hatred, if your words were heard by those little brothers and sisters who would grow fat just by drinking cold water, you would be beaten to death. You're attracting too much hatred. As Su Yiyan spoke, she glanced at Hu Qinhuan's belly with a particularly aggrieved look, causing a certain someone to scratch her nose, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. Do you really want to hit me now? Do you really want me to eat until I become a big fatty? You don't like my abs? I don't know who used to like to sleep on my chest and touch me. Alright, that's enough. Su Yiyan's face flushed red when her little hobby was exposed so blatantly. She glared at Hu Qinhuan angrily. Seeing this, Hu Qinhuan immediately surrendered. I was wrong. I won't say it again. If you want me to be fat, I can work hard to eat more. However, if I really don't look good when I'm fat, you may not like me anymore. Su Yiyan was stunned. She inexplicably felt that Hu Qinhuan was the villain who complained first. She immediately put her hands on her hips and said with a displeased face, Am I such a superficial person? Hu Qinhuan cast a suspicious look at her and said frankly, Do you want abs or a beer belly? Su Yiyan blinked, and the little swing in her heart began to swing wildly. On one side, she was pressing on the little angel with 6-pack abs, and on the other side, she was pressing on the little devil whose neck could not even be seen. Abs. Chapter 886. Su Yiyan, who admitted that she was shallow, finally succumbed to the temptation of abdominal muscles. She completely gave up on feeding Hu Qinhuan into a big fat man. Hu Qinhuan looked at her regretful face and found it funny. Do you want to feed me into a big fat man so much? Actually, no. Su Yiyan poked Hu Qinhuan's chest imperceptibly. I just feel a little unbalanced. We eat together, but you eat so much more than me. I almost became a ball before, but you didn't change at all. A body like hers, who could not get fat no matter how much she ate, was simply the #1 enemy of the majority of dieting girls. Hu Qinhuan couldn't help but pinch his wife's small face, which was slightly puffed up because of anger. It was soft, just like their baby. Men and women are different. A girl is cute if she is a little chubby, but if a man is fat, Su Yiyan looked up at him in confusion. Haven't you heard of a saying? A white face covers 100 ugliness, but a fat face destroys everything. Hu Qinhuan pinched Su Yiyan's nose. If I were really fat to the extent that my abdominal muscles become a piece, then it would not be cute, but an eyesore. Su Yiyan pouted and pushed Hu Qinhuan's hand away. What's wrong with that? Su Yiyen had seen some middle-aged uncles with bald heads and round stomachs. Now looking at Hu Chenhuan, she silently imagined him with a light bulb on his head and a swimming ring in his arms. For a moment, she couldn't help but burst out laughing. Hu Chenhuan was stunned and looked at her in confusion. What's wrong? Nothing. No matter what you become, you will still be handsome and cute in my eyes. Su Yiyen's words were very sincere, but the smile in the bottom of her eyes was a little mischievous and sly. When Hu Chenhuan saw Su Yiyen's reaction, she knew that she must be thinking about something strange. She didn't dwell on it and asked with a faint smile, "How was it with the baby today? Did the baby disturb you?" No, the baby was very obedient today. When the people in my company knew that I brought him here, they all came to hug him and take pictures with him. He was very cooperative and didn't cry. It's just that they all rushed to my office like a swarm of bees, so I didn't have the mood to work. Before I came back, I still had a lot of documents to deal with, so I threw them all to Brother Junsheng. Thinking about it, I feel a little sorry for him. Many artists who had taken the blame but were not completely innocent. Hearing her words, Hu Chenhuan pondered for a while. It's indeed not easy to work with a child. Yes. Why don't I take him to the company tomorrow? Yes. Su Yiyen nodded subconsciously. Then, as if she had realized something, her eyes widened in surprise. What did you say? Are you taking the baby to the company? Why are you so surprised? Didn't you take him to the company today? When Hu Chenhuan said this, there was a subtle hint of jealousy. His wife took the child to play, but he was the only one excluded. How can it be the same? Su Yiyen thought to herself. Based on your image in front of the company's employees, if you really swaggered to the company with the child like me, the employees would be disillusioned. How is it different? You are his mother, and I am his father. It's natural to take the child out. What I mean is, can you really handle it by yourself? Hu Chenhuan laughed. If you can handle it, why can't I? You know, I usually take care of the child at home. Chapter 887. Su Yiyen choked. Indeed, Hu Chenhuan usually took care of the child at home. Most of the time, he changed diapers, made milk powder, fed the baby, and even bathed the baby. In his words, men and women should not touch each other. Even if the baby was less than 2 months old, he was still a boy. Su Yiyen was strictly guarded by a jealous man. Except for feeding the mother occasionally, she was basically only responsible for playing with the child in her spare time. Su Yiyen was silent for a moment as it concerned her position in front of her children. She straightened her neck and said, "So what? The baby still likes me. Every time he cries, he wants me to hold him. Yes. The baby likes you the most. The second person he likes is me." Hu Chenhuan agreed so readily that Su Yiyen felt a little embarrassed. She confirmed again, "Are you really going to take him there? Are you still worried about him being with me?" "I'm not worried about him. I'm worried about you." Su Yiyen frowned and thought for a moment. She was still a little worried and said, "If the baby keeps crying and can't be coaxed, or you have to leave for something, ask Xiaoyang to send the baby to me." Okay. Although she said that, it was the first time that the baby's father took the baby out alone. Su Yiyen felt that she still needed to make some preparations in advance. While Hu Chenhuan went to the bathroom to take a shower, she added Gu Xiaoyang and the other two to an independent private group and asked for help online. "Ordinary young madam, Hu Chenhuan will take the baby to the company tomorrow. Who is in charge of the head office tomorrow? Please help him." Gu Xiaoyang and the others were a little confused when they saw such a message. After they came to their senses, they started to talk at the same time. "Jumping Fish Hualong, young master is taking the little prince to the company tomorrow? Heavens, does that mean I can see the little crown prince tomorrow? Can I hug him? Is it okay if I take a photo with him? Serious little Yang, young master is taking the little prince to the company? Alone? Can young master do it? I have never taken care of a child. Can I help? Conscientious Swazwa, don't worry, madam. The three of us will be there for the weekly meeting tomorrow. We will help young master take good care of the child. Su Yiyen. She felt that the last sentence sounded a little strange, but she couldn't put her finger on it. The artists in her company liked to call their baby Little Prince. Now that she saw Yu Zian and the others calling him that, Su Yiyen did not find it strange, but, ordinary young madam, is your company having a regular meeting tomorrow? How could Hu Chenhuan not tell her about such an important matter? If there was a regular meeting, even if it wasn't a big meeting of the entire company, at least a portion of the company's executives would be present. Imagine a meeting room filled with 20 to 30 company executives discussing the company's reports and future operations with a serious expression. But there was a pink baby carriage by the side, and occasionally a baby's cries could be heard. Thinking of this scene, Su Yiyen felt a little suffocated. But if she didn't bring the baby along and left him alone in the office, ordinary young madam, forget it. Don't ask him to bring the baby tomorrow. We'll talk about it when we have the chance. The three of them, who were still immersed in the sweet dream of holding the cute little prince in their arms, were shocked when they saw this message. Jumping Fish Hualong, no, no, no. Young madam, please ask young master to bring the little prince here tomorrow. We will take good care of him. Chapter 888. Serious little Yang Yang, yes, young madam, you don't have to worry that young master can't take care of him alone. Although we don't have much experience and can't help much, there are many girls in the company, many moms. We can definitely serve the little prince as comfortably as if he were at home. Conscientious left, young madam, are you worried about the regular meeting? If so, you don't have to worry. It's okay if I don't attend the meeting this time. I can stay and take care of the baby. Bouncing Yu Hualong, you're cheating again. Young madam, I can also skip the meeting and stay and take care of the baby. Serious little Yang Yang, +1. Why do I feel that all of you can't wait to suck my baby? Su Yiyen had been worried that Hu Chenhuan would neglect her baby because she was busy with work. Now, she was inexplicably afraid that her baby would fall into a fire pit and be surrounded by a group of strange uncles. Ordinary young madam, I think it's not good for the boss to take the baby to work in such a serious place. It might be a bad example for you. Before Su Yiyen could finish the second half of her sentence, she was bombarded by the three people. Jumping Fish Hualong, no, no, no. Young madam, you've misunderstood. Our company is very democratic and humane. As long as you complete the work assigned by the company within the specified time, we won't care about your personal affairs. It's not unusual for a young master to bring a baby to work. Previously, there was an employee who brought the baby to the company because his family had all moved out. He couldn't leave the company because of work, so he brought the baby to the company. Serious little Yang Yang, yes, I can testify to that. Conscientious Swazwa, yes, there is such a thing. After that, they began to spam the screen with various, enlightened, deeds in the company, trying to dispel Su Yiyen's idea of not allowing Hu Chenhuan to bring the baby to work. Su Yiyen looked at the flying explanations on the screen and couldn't interrupt. Her mouth twitched slightly. In the end, she had no choice but to give up. Out of sight, out of mind. Just then, a voice suddenly came from behind, startling Su Yiyen. What are you looking at? Nothing. Su Yiyen turned the screen down guiltily and changed the subject. I'm just thinking that there's no news from the police. I don't know when they'll catch Hu Chihan. Soon. Hu Chenhuan walked to the bed and sat down, hugging Su Yiyen. In a few days. Su Yiyen glanced at Hu Chenhuan in confusion. Her intuition told her that he might know something. Seeing that he didn't say anything for a long time, he turned to ask another person. What did the police say? When Su Yiyen mentioned the woman, a chill flashed across Hu Chenhuan's eyes. He sneered and said, maybe she was worried that we would do something to her son. After the woman was taken away, she took the initiative to confess all her contact details and transaction records with Hu Qihan. According to the lawyer's estimation, a few years in prison was inevitable. Hualong to Hudo Vent. To Hua, Huat. Although the woman was abominable, she was only an accomplice. In some ways, she was at most an accomplice. If she was convicted, it wouldn't be a big crime. At most, she would be locked up for a few years. However, this was not a big deal. When she came out, she would find that being locked up was not the worst thing. What awaited her after she came out was purgatory on earth. As for Hu Qihan, Hu Qinhuan had no intention of letting him come out alive from the beginning. Chapter 889. When Su Yiyan heard Hu Qinhuan's words, she narrowed her eyes dangerously and said coldly, "Do whatever you want. You don't have to be merciful to her." Not long after the incident, Su Yiyan got the surveillance footage from Yuan Yuan and found that the woman had actually begun to wander around the baby's room a week ago. It was only because she did not really get close to the baby's room at that time and did anything substantial to the child that she did not trigger the security system of Yuan Yuan's internal chip and punish her. This was actually one of the drawbacks of Yuan Yuan as an imperfect semi-finished product. It did not react as quickly as they had expected. For this reason, early in the morning, as soon as Su Yiyan went to the company, Hu Qinhuan asked Zui Yanbai to upgrade Yuan Yuan and add an early warning system. These abnormalities that they could not judge would be fed back to the owner in advance so that the owner could study and analyze the ultimate purpose of the other party's actions and effectively avoid some dangers. After watching these surveillance footage and combining it with the information that she had asked Hu Qinhuan to investigate about the woman's son, Su Yiyan quickly found out that there was something fishy going on. The time when the woman appeared near the baby's room was when her son had just owed a huge gambling debt, and Hu Qihan had only officially contacted her 3 days ago. What did this mean? It meant that long before Hu Qihan contacted her, this woman had already set her sights on her son. It was just that at that time, she was still hesitant, or rather, she did not have the courage to initiate a kidnapping to extort money to pay off her son's debt. Hu Qihan's appearance freed her from the abyss of evil. An accomplice who had just received money to steal the child and give it to the child's uncle was less guilty than the mastermind who had planned this whole conspiracy. After taking the money, she could save her son from the abyss of suffering and then escape far away. She did not need to risk being caught and dealing with her old boss for money. She did not need to worry that with Hu Qihan, the mastermind, in front of her, Hu Qinhuan and others would have the energy to pursue her, a small shrimp caught in the middle of a fight between gods. As for what would happen to the child after he was stolen and given away, it had nothing to do with her at the moment when the money was paid. Understanding this point, Su Yiyan really could not have the slightest bit of pity for this woman. The most ironic thing was that after that, the nanny and Uncle Zhang came to apologize to Su Yiyan out of guilt. They felt that it was their negligence that had caused the scare. He sighed from the bottom of his heart. Who would have thought that such an honest person would do such a thing? Honest. That's right. Everyone in the family Hu mansion had an honest opinion of that woman. But it was this honest man who did the most shocking thing. To put it bluntly, no matter how good a person was, under the premise of not affecting their own interests, no one would know whether the person under the skin was a human or a ghost. This was human nature. How is her son? What else? Hu Qinhuan's expression did not change, as if she was talking about an insignificant ant. He owes a lot of debt, and now the people who can help him pay off his debts have been locked up. Those debt collectors alone are enough for him to suffer. It was true that the woman's son could not have ended up like this without Hu Qihan's seduction, but in the final analysis, it had a lot to do with his blindly demanding and vain character. Adults always had to be responsible for their own actions. Hu Qinhuan did not think that he and his mother were worth pitying. Chapter 890. From the few words revealed by Hu Qinhuan, Su Yiyan also guessed that he should have some idea of Hu Qihan's whereabouts. Although she didn't know what he was planning to do now, since he was under control, she could feel more at ease. The only tricky thing was that paper couldn't wrap fire. After all, the fact that the child was almost stolen couldn't be hidden for long, and Su Yuxuan soon found out. I was wondering why you suddenly took my little nephew to the company. Junsheng also told me that you might be reluctant to be separated from the child for so long, so you simply took the child to the company. If I hadn't been careful and asked around, how long did you plan to hide such a serious matter? Su Yiyan listened to her brother's angry questioning and said guiltily, "Brother, I was wrong. The baby is fine. He was just taken to the door when he was found and taken back. He wasn't hurt or frightened. I was afraid that you would be worried, so I didn't say anything." You were afraid that we would be worried and didn't say anything. Didn't you think that we would be scared to death if we found out from other people? Su Yiyan choked and lowered her head, blaming herself even more. Do Mom and Dad know about this? What do you think? If I know, how can Mom and Dad not know? Su Yiyan lowered her head even more. What was Mom and Dad's reaction? Did you tell them that the child was fine? Of course I told them, but how can this kind of thing be settled just by saying it? Mom was scared. As soon as she found out about this, she immediately wanted to go to your house to see her grandson. I persuaded her and told her that it was already so late. You and the child must have already gone to bed. If she went there, she would be restless all night. Only then did I persuade her. Su Yuxuan sighed. Are you still taking the little guy to work tomorrow morning? If not, we'll go directly to your house tomorrow morning. If you do, you can take him home at noon and let Mom and Dad take a look at him to reassure them. Well, I won't take him tomorrow, then we'll go over tomorrow morning. You can tell Uncle Zhang, or you can go to work early tomorrow morning and wait for us at home. After listening to Su Yuxuan's words, Su Yiyan stubbornly continued what she was about to say. Although I'm not bringing him, Chenhuan is going to bring him to work tomorrow. Su Yuxuan was deathly silent for a few seconds before he roared out in an earth-shattering voice, "What did you say?" Su Yiyan touched her ears, which were hurting from the shock, and said helplessly, "He's going to take Bao Bao to his company tomorrow." Alone? Will it work? He usually brings more than me at home. It should be, okay. Are you sure he's taking care of the child and not playing with the child? The corners of Su Yiyan's mouth twitched. How about I tell him not to bring the child to the office tomorrow? No need. I just asked Mom and Dad. They're busy during the day tomorrow. We'll look for you at night. Su Yiyan was puzzled when she heard that. Didn't they just say that they would come together tomorrow morning? Why would they be busy while they were on the phone? Although she thought about it, Su Yiyan still agreed to it. The next morning, Hu Chenhuan, dressed in a handsome suit, pushed a pink pram, and carried a pink mother's bag on his shoulder as he slowly walked into his company. The receptionist, who had taken out her lipstick and was about to touch up her makeup before working hours, saw this scene. Her hand trembled, and the corner of her mouth drew a long red tail. Chapter 891. At the critical moment, another young lady at the front desk tugged at her, bringing her back to reality. The receptionist seemed to have woken up from a dream. She hurriedly hid under the desk at the front desk, barely managing to maintain her image in front of her boss. "Hello, boss." The remaining receptionist discreetly shielded her colleague and greeted Hu Chenhuan with a polite smile. Hu Chenhuan pushed the stroller past the front desk and responded coldly and reservedly, "Yes." But when he entered the elevator, he subconsciously pulled at the mother's bag on his shoulder. It contained the baby's milk powder, diapers, toys, and other small things. If he accidentally lost it, the baby would not be able to play, but it would be a big problem if he went hungry. What Hu Chenhuan did not know was that as soon as he pushed the stroller into the elevator, the two receptionists at the front desk exploded. "Xiao Jia, your face." The receptionist wiped the lipstick on her cheeks in an extremely boorish and bold manner. She looked at the direction Hu Chenhuan left with sparkling eyes and said excitedly, "Why do you care about your face at this time? The boss was pushing a stroller just now, right? A pink stroller. It must be the little crown prince inside. It should be." What should be? It must be. Other than the little crown prince, who else can make the boss bring the baby to work? Yes, what you said makes sense. The boss brought the little crown prince to work. No, I have to tell this good news to the brothers and sisters in the group. Therefore, under the publicity of the receptionist's loudspeaker, the news of Hu Chenhuan bringing a child to work had already spread throughout the company before he even entered the office. Zhuo Yanbai and the other two were even more excited. They rubbed their hands and were ready to take over Hu Chenhuan's job of taking care of the baby. Under the pretext of helping out, they openly sucked the baby. Most of the regular meetings in Hu Chenhuan's company were held in the morning. Usually, at this time, most of the employees were anxious, afraid that they would be criticized in public if they did not do a good report. But today was different. Since they knew that Hu Chenhuan brought a child to the company and would most likely bring the child to the regular meeting, they were all excited. Everyone at the meeting seemed to have been injected with chicken blood. They couldn't wait for time to pass faster, so that they could see the legendary little prince who was doted on by thousands of people earlier. When Hu Chenhuan pushed the stroller into the meeting room, he was keenly aware of the burning gazes from all directions. He frowned slightly and glanced at the crowd with warning. Everyone was swept by his cold gaze and they realized that they had lost their composure. They hurriedly retracted their gazes and looked down guiltily. However, their guilty conscience didn't last long. Soon, they couldn't help but glance at the pram again. It was just that before, he was looking at it openly. Now, he was sneaking glances. Seeing this, Hu Chenhuan could not be bothered and pushed the stroller inside. Zhuo Yanbai, who was sitting below Hu Chenhuan, got up and walked over. It's inconvenient for you to take care of the child. Why don't you leave him to me? Yu Zian and Gu Xiaoyang, who were a step behind, secretly cursed someone's cunning in their hearts. However, to Zhuo Yanbai's disappointment, Hu Chenhuan did not let him take care of the child as he wished. Instead, he avoided his hand and pushed the stroller to the side of the sofa. No, I'll take care of it. Do you really think that I can't see through your little tricks? Today, none of you can touch my baby. Chapter 892. Zhuo Yanbai's expression stiffened for a moment, as if he hadn't expected to be rejected. However, he quickly recovered and sat down on the other side of the pram with a faint smile. When Yu Zian saw that Zhuo Yanbai had been rejected, they felt a sense of relief and cursed in their hearts, "You deserve it. Who told you to always play tricks behind our backs? You were rejected by young master, weren't you?" Zhuo Yanbai saw how the two of them were gloating over his misfortune. He was both angry and amused, and his eyes were full of disdain. Did these two fools think that they had a chance just because he had been rejected? How naive. Young master clearly intended to do it himself and not let anyone else interfere. This included himself, and of course, also included them. They were still feeling smug and thought that they were better than him. Although he had been rejected, he was still sitting next to the pram and could see the little prince as soon as he lowered his head. The little guy was very sleepy. Before they set off, Su Yiyen had fed him milk once. After drinking it, he had fallen asleep and hadn't woken up since. Zhuo Yanbai looked at the little guy, who was as white and tender as a little doe. He felt as if a naked little angel was holding a delicate little bow and spinning it around for him. Then, with a whoosh, a small silver arrow with a heart-shaped arrowhead tail shot out and accurately pierced his heart. As expected of young master and young madam's baby. He was so cute. Just like that, Hu Chenhuan was busy listening to the department head's report and didn't notice that there was a terrifying child thief lurking next to her. Until, the originally serious atmosphere in the meeting room instantly became subtle because of the baby's low cry. Zhuo Yanbai, who had been staring at the baby like a weird uncle, was the first to react. He coughed softly and reminded him, "Young master, the baby seems to be awake." When everyone in the meeting room heard this, their eyes lit up. They didn't care if their big boss would glare at them and looked at the pram excitedly. She was looking forward to hearing the little guy speak again. When the little guy woke up, would Big Boss carry him out? The 2-month-old baby wasn't big to begin with, and the pink pram could completely cover him. They stretched their necks for a long time, but they still couldn't see half a tuft of hair on the young master's head. They were so anxious. When Hu Chenhuan heard Zui Yanbai's words, she subconsciously turned her head to look. Sure enough, she saw that the little girl, who had been sleeping soundly, had woken up in a daze. Her small hands moved, and her eyes opened and closed for a while. This continued for a few times, as if she was adapting to the light from the outside world. Finally, the little guy was completely awake. His pair of big black grape-like eyes looked around. Perhaps because she realized that there was no one around, she felt a little scared and began to cry without warning. Wah! The childish cry instantly resounded throughout the entire office, and there were even some subtle echoes. All of a sudden, many people present were shocked. Hu Chenhuan's heart ached when she saw him cry. She reached out and took the baby out of the pram, coaxing him in a low voice, "Baby, don't be afraid. Daddy's here. Daddy's here." Everyone who witnessed the Big Boss coaxing the child in a soft voice was speechless. Oh my God, was this the cold-blooded demon king who could scare everyone to death with just a frown? Would they be able to walk out of the company alive today? Hu Chenhuan coaxed the baby for a while and found that he was still crying sadly. She frowned slightly and touched the baby's diaper as if she sensed something. Chapter 893. After clearly feeling the heavy weight, Hu Chenhuan stated expressionlessly, "He peed." After that, she left the dumbfounded crowd behind, got up, and left with the baby. Zui Yanbai was the first to react. He suddenly stood up and said, "The meeting is suspended. I'll inform you of the meeting time later." Then, he hurriedly left after Hu Chenhuan. Yu Zian and Yu Zian realized what Zui Yanbai wanted to do and couldn't sit still. No, they couldn't just let this cunning guy take advantage of them. They had to follow him. The two of them looked at each other, got up, and chased after him. A few seconds later, a slightly dazed voice sounded in the dead silent office. "Is the boss going to change the little prince's diaper?" As soon as this was said, the atmosphere in the office became stagnant again. It was so quiet that even the sound of a pin dropping could be heard. Pfft! After some time, someone couldn't help but laugh out loud. It was as if someone had pressed a switch, and the office was suddenly in an uproar. Before the Big Boss left, he did say that the little prince peed. It's very likely that the little prince was crying because he felt uncomfortable after peeing. If he wants to stop crying, he has to change his diaper. Can the Big Boss do it? Changing the little prince's diaper personally? I can't imagine it. He should be able to. Otherwise, why would the madam let the boss bring the little prince to the company alone? Although what you said makes sense, I still can't accept it. The Big Boss is actually changing the little prince's diaper personally. I suddenly want to see the Big Boss changing the little prince's diaper. It must be very exciting. Which brave comrade would dare to secretly take a picture of the big guy's wish? Secretly take a picture? I'm afraid he's not dying fast enough. Isn't it good to live well? Just now, I only took one more look at the Big Boss pushing the baby stroller. When the Big Boss looked at me, I wondered if I could see the sun tomorrow. That's why it's called risking your life. Do you dare say you don't want to see it? Actually, to be able to see the Big Boss change the little prince's diaper and take a look at the little prince's chubby butt, it's worth it even if it's risking my life. I'm just afraid that I'll be discovered before I even see it, and then there'll be a crack, and then. You actually want to see the little prince's butt, you perverted strange auntie. Humph, don't tell me you don't want to see it. I'll be honest, I want to, me too, ha 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 ha, I saw it when boss picked up little prince. The little prince's diaper actually has a pink piggy printed on it. I want to pat it. It's so cute. Aren't the cat ears on the little prince's hoodie the most suffocating thing? I want to touch you. Usually, when I'm chatting with others, I feel like punching them when I see them crying. That is until I hear the little prince's cries. How fragrant. Fortunately, Su Yiyen was not present at the scene. Otherwise, she would have exploded on the spot if she saw the room full of weird uncles and aunties coveting her son's small buttocks and wanting to touch his buttocks and pat them. Zhuo Yanbai caught up with Hu Qinhuan and asked with great enthusiasm and sincerity, "Do you need any help?" Hu Qinhuan looked at him suspiciously. "You know how to change diapers?" Zhuo Yanbai was stunned. I've seen people do it before." "You've personally changed the baby?" "No." "Ha, so, where did a newbie like you get the courage to think that you can help?" Zhuo Yanbai. Chapter 894. In the end, General Manager Zhuo failed to get the lucrative job of changing the little guy's diaper. He was rejected by the child's father. At the same time, Yu Zian and Gu Xiaoyang rushed over and ridiculed General Manager Zhuo. After that, there was an inevitable fight. Hu Qinhuan ignored the commotion outside. After laying out a soft towel and placing the baby on the flat table, she took out a diaper from the pink mother's bag and skillfully changed the baby. Just then, there was a sudden commotion outside the door. "Is President Hu inside?" Hearing this voice, Hu Qinhuan suddenly stopped what she was doing. "Yes, but..." "Hey, President Su, you can't just go in like this." President Hui is, the secretary outside the office wanted to stop her, but she didn't dare to do so because of her status. With a bang, the door to Hu Qinhuan's office was opened from the outside. Su Yuxuan walked in at the front, followed by two secretaries and Zhuo Yanbai, who hadn't gone far. Hu Qinhuan had just put on a new diaper for the baby. Hearing the commotion, she looked up and glanced at everyone. She said coldly, "What's the matter?" The first to react was the secretary who tried to stop Su Yuxuan. "President Hua, President Su is, ugh," before she could finish, Yu Zian covered her mouth. He, it's fine. We didn't see anything." "Silly girl." President Su was the young master's brother-in-law. It was fine for him to barge in and see the young master changing the baby's diaper. Small fries like them didn't even have time to run. Why were they still complaining? Did they think they weren't cannon fodder fast enough? The group of people very sensibly scattered like birds and beasts, leaving the two adults alone with a child who couldn't even speak. Su Yuxuan glanced at the little one in Hu Qinhuan's arms, then looked at the old diapers that hadn't been cleaned up in time. She raised her eyebrows slightly. "I heard from Yan Yan that you're bringing the child to work today." I didn't quite believe it, but I didn't expect it to be true. Hearing Su Yuxuan mention his wife, Hu Qinhuan's expression softened. "Yan Yan told you? Who else could it be?" Su Yuxuan swaggered to the sofa nearby and sat down. He said in a sarcastic tone, "I can't believe that the president of the Hu group would personally breastfeed and change a child's diapers. If this gets out, I'm afraid many people will laugh their heads off." Hu Qinhuan pretended not to hear the other party's sarcasm. She carried the child and sat opposite Su Yuxuan. She smiled faintly and said, "As a parent, it's only meaningful to do everything personally. I'm afraid those who haven't been parents won't be able to understand this." Su Yuxuan's brother-in-law, who had never been a parent and didn't even have a partner, felt an arrow piercing his heart. It was very painful. "Don't talk nonsense. Yan Yan didn't mention such a big thing because he was afraid that we'd be worried about it." "But you didn't say anything either. Are you afraid that we'll get even with you?" Hu Qinhuan's eyes flashed coldly. "This was indeed my negligence. The same thing won't happen again. You said before that you wouldn't let Yan Yan suffer any harm from now on. What happened in the end?" Su Yuxuan stared at Hu Qinhuan. His words were really aggressive. "Didn't you think that you were lucky this time to find the child before it was stolen? If you reacted a little slower, or if the other party directly hurt the child to get revenge on you, what would Yan Yan do?" Chapter 895. What would happen to Su Yiyan? The answer was obvious. This little guy was Su Yiyan's flesh and blood. If anything happened to him, it would be tantamount to stabbing a knife into Su Yiyan's heart. I didn't come here today to denounce you. I just want to know what you're going to do with the mastermind behind the scenes. Hua Qinhuan knew very well that since Su Yuxuan asked this question, he must already know who the mastermind behind the scenes was. I'll do what I have to do. Have you made up your mind? Of course, no one is more important than Yan Yan and the child. Su Yuxuan's expression became better. I'll remember your words. Hua Qinhuan looked up at him. The person has been found. Su Yuxuan was stunned. It took him a while to realize that Hua Qinhuan was talking about the mastermind. His eyes turned cold. He wanted to ask Hua Qinhuan why he didn't inform the police to arrest the person since he had already found the whereabouts of the person. Did he leave some leeway for the other party? But when the words reached his mouth, he swallowed them back. It was fine if some words were hinted vaguely, but if he really said it out loud, it was easy to cause conflict. Su Yuxuan gave Hua Qinhuan a fierce look. I'll trust you one more time. After that, he looked at his little nephew and said enviously, Can I hold him? Uncle wanted to hold his nephew. As his brother-in-law, Hua Qinhuan naturally had no reason to refuse. Without much hesitation, he handed his little son, who had returned to his well-behaved appearance after changing his diapers, to Su Yuxuan. This was the first time Su Yuxuan held the little guy in a long time. Before this, he had come to see his nephew many times, but almost every time, he was with Qing Xiuqin. Two adults would fight to hold a child, let alone him, who was at the bottom of the food chain at home. Children have soft bones. You should support them here and here. Following Hua Qinhuan's instructions, Su Yuxuan carefully held the child in her arms. Little Xingxing seemed to have some impression of this uncle who had come to visit him several times. He stared at him with his big eyes for a while and suddenly laughed. Su Yuxuan's heart melted into a pool of water, and he was secretly excited. He was indeed the son of his baby sister. When he smiled, he was exactly the same as Yan Yan when he was a child. He was really a lovely baby. Su Yuxuan held the baby in her arms. She was happy and satisfied, but she didn't forget to insult Hua Qinhuan. You're quite knowledgeable about carrying babies. Practice makes perfect. Before I had children, I didn't feel it. After I had children, I wanted to hug them whenever I saw them. Naturally, I became familiar with them after a few times. When Hua Qinhuan said this, she glanced meaningfully at Su Yuxuan, as if to say, You're an unmarried single dog, so you won't understand. Su Yuxuan. So what if you have a wife? So what if you have a child? Reality proved that having a wife and a child really was amazing. He shouldn't have come here today to humiliate himself. Young Master Su, who had originally come to give a warning to a certain someone, but had instead been shown off in front of him, regretted it so much that his intestines almost turned green. The two adults and the child in the room had an undercurrent of tension. The atmosphere was so heavy that it seemed like they could start fighting at any time. However, in the eyes of others, this scene was completely different from what they had expected. At least, in Su Yiyan's eyes, the two people who were at daggers drawn and the little kid in his big brother's arms looked a bit like a family of three. Chapter 896. Pfft. Su Yiyan was shocked by her own imagination. She coughed a few times with a glass of water in her hand. Plain young madam, what's this? Black man's question mark face. JPG, bouncing Yu Hualong, President Su just came to the company to look for young master. Plain young madam, my brother went to your company. Su Yiyan was shocked. No wonder her brother said last night that he would see the baby in the morning or in the afternoon. When he heard that Hua Qinhuan was going to take the baby to the company today, he immediately changed his mind. So that's what he was waiting for. Plain young madam, they didn't fight, did they? Serious little Yang, no, no. President Su and our young master are quite harmonious. They seem to be discussing how to breastfeed the baby. Su Yiyan. Of all things, the two men were discussing how to breastfeed the baby. No, she couldn't think about it anymore. The more she thought about it, the more she felt like they were a family of three. Su Yiyen tried hard to drive out the wild imagination in her mind. Plain young madam, please keep an eye on them. Don't let them fight. I'm going to do a barbecue live stream this weekend. I hope you can do me the honor of joining us. I want to thank you for taking care of Chinhuan during my pregnancy. Zhuo Yanbai and the others didn't expect to receive such benefits. They were a little dizzy from the pie that fell from the sky. It took them a while to come back to their senses. Each of them was more excited than the other. Jumping Yu Hualong, really? I'll definitely go. Serious little Yang Yang, I'll definitely be there that day. Thank you, young madam. Conscientious Zwa, this is what we should do. Well, what's barbecue? Bouncing Yu Hualong, who cares what it is? As long as it's made by young madam, it must be delicious. As a qualified young madam bragger, Yu Zian firmly believed that as long as Su Yiyen could bring out something good, it would definitely be delicious. Plain young madam, barbecue is a cooking method that puts food on a rack and roasts it. The things roasted are mixed, both meat and vegetables. You can eat them while roasting. I don't know the specifics, but you'll know when the time comes. After hearing what she said, Zhuo Yanbai and the others were even more tempted. They couldn't wait to gather at the family Hua tomorrow, since it was the weekend. Su Yayan did not know about their ambitions. She looked at the people in the group who were discussing the barbecue arrangements for the weekend in full swing even though they did not know anything. The corners of her lips curled up slightly and she did not interrupt. Just then, a piece of news popped up on the page. Ding Juaci came to the rescue of a female artist who was being harassed on the way. He took stock of those female artists who were being followed by illegitimate fans. This piece of news wasn't eye-catching at first glance, but Su Yiyen's sharp eyes noticed that the picture accompanying the news seemed to be Wen Jingping. Su Yiyen took a closer look and found that the female artist mentioned in the news who was followed by an unceasing fan and almost had an accident was indeed Wen Jingping. This was somewhat thought-provoking. Was Wen Jingping now famous enough to have her own illegitimate fans? Su Yiyen didn't think so. It could be seen from the title of the news. The male artist who saved the damsel in distress directly named her. Wen Jingping, the victim, was only labeled as a female artist. If it weren't for the picture, most people wouldn't be able to figure out who this female artist was. It could be seen that in the eyes of the media, Wen Jingping's name wasn't as popular as a female artist's name. It was pitifully shabby. Chapter 897. No matter what, Su Yiyen felt that it was only right for her to get someone to investigate this matter since the original female lead had stirred up trouble again. As a result, the investigation led to Hua Xiaofeng. Hua Xiaofeng? Su Yiyen was astonished. What does this have to do with Hua Xiaofeng? Could it be that he was the one who sent people to look for Wen Jingping? Xia Junsheng held the investigation report from Yu Zian and the others and nodded. That's right. Why? From the information, Hua Xiaofeng probably bribed these people to defile Wen Jingping. Defile? That was a serious word. In the original work, this was the ultimate couple in terms of sweetness. Were they now so disgusted with each other that they wanted nothing more than to tear each other to shreds? As if seeing Su Yiyen's confusion, Xia Junsheng coughed lightly and explained, actually, it's not that hard to understand. A man who has been cuckolded has his self-esteem hurt. Seeing the woman who used to belong to him fall into the arms of another man, he hates her as much as he liked her in the beginning. Also, he probably thinks that this kind of woman is too fickle. Since she was so fickle and couldn't move once she saw a man, he might as well find a few men to satisfy her. It could also be considered as helping him vent his anger. Su Yiyen was only surprised for a moment. After all, when Hua Xiaofeng personally came to negotiate with them, he said that he wanted to destroy Wen Jingping's reputation. She just didn't expect that Hua Xiaofeng would be so ruthless, directly making people have those people been caught? No, and judging from Hai-Yi's actions, it seems that they don't intend to pursue this matter. Su Yiyan only needed to ponder for a moment before she could roughly guess what was going on. Pursue what? If you can find out, why can't Hai-Yi find out? If this matter is really investigated, Wen Jingping and Hu Xiaofeng's disgraceful past will definitely be dug up. At that time, the public will not feel sorry for her, the victim. If the investigation continued and the truth was exposed, this matter would change from an extreme sightseeing fan chasing after a female celebrity to a female celebrity cheating on him, and the ex-boyfriend's love turned into hatred and revenge. Before Xia Junqing came back with the information, Su Yiyan took the time to look at the comments on the internet. It was a mix of good and bad. The good ones were naturally praising the man for his noble character. On the other hand, the bad ones were basically scolding Wen Jingping for attracting bees and butterflies and for reaping what she sowed. There were even a few keyboard warriors with discerning eyes who inadvertently peeked at a corner of the truth. Who knew if this so-called sightseeing fan was a self-directed act, or if she was caught cheating on a few men at one time and got caught? Just as Xia Junqing had said, Wen Jingping's actions had already left Hu Xiaofeng and even the public with the label of a fickle woman. In this era where girls who wore miniskirts would have male chauvinism and deliberately seduce men, Wen Jingping was precisely the target of most people's criticism. Take today's matter for example. If it had happened to other female celebrities, although there would be some people who were cynical, most people would still be kind to the victim and feel sorry for her. Wen Jingping was different. The person who scolded her the most fiercely was the male celebrity who had saved her. These fans praised their brother's noble character, handsome, and kind heart, wishing that they could praise him to the heavens. On the other hand, they were crazily trampling on Wen Jingping. They thought that this woman didn't deserve to ride on their brother's popularity and even dragged down their brother because of her bad reputation. Chapter 898. If Wen Jingping had any self-awareness, she would have stayed away from her brother. Otherwise, there would be no need for those keyboard warriors. They would be the first to curse at her and send her to be scolded by Zhu Onghua every day. Although there were some people who tried to lead the topic to the illegitimate fans, there were not as many people who were sarcastic. Once the truth was made public, the few people who spoke up for Wen Jingping would probably change sides. It would be very miserable. What's the background of this Ding Jueshi? Su Yiyan felt that the name sounded familiar, but she couldn't remember it at the moment. Ding Jueshi is an old actor in Hai-Yi. He's in his early 30s. He's a professional actor. Although he's not as popular as the current celebrities, he has many die-hard fans because of his acting skills. Moreover, he was born as a child actor. In terms of seniority, he can be considered a senior among the younger generation. Senior? Su Yiyan's mind lit up. She seemed to have caught onto something. Yes, Wen Jingping's accident happened to be near the set of his new movie. He might have just finished filming and was about to go back when he coincidentally bumped into Wen Jingping. Coincidental? Su Yiyan raised her eyebrows and chuckled. It might not be a coincidence. Now that Xia Junqing mentioned it, Su Yiyan finally remembered who this person was. Among the backup male supporting characters in the original novel, Ding Jueshi was probably the one who had the least sense of presence and basically didn't have any scenes. There was no other reason than that he was married. He was a married man with a son and a daughter. Ding Jueshi and his wife were high school classmates. They fell in love in university and got married without any setbacks after graduation. According to the usual routine, the female lead in a romance novel could flirt with high-quality men everywhere and make the male lead jealous. However, the male lead couldn't flirt with anyone and had to keep his chastity for the female lead. Otherwise, it would definitely attract the condemnation of the clean party. It was fine to use a mature man like Ding Jueshi, who was almost 10 years older than the female lead and had a wife and a child, to show off the female lead's charm. However, it was impossible for him to be the male lead. In addition, if Su Yiyan remembered correctly, Ding Jueshi's wife seemed to be a young lady from a rich family. When she married him back then, she was already considered to have married down. After more than 10 years of relationship, she even gave birth to a son and a daughter for him. Even if the readers imagine that when Jinping, the female lead, enjoys the pursuit and love of a married man, they have to admit that he is a scumbag. A male supporting character who wasn't very popular in any aspect had suddenly disappeared as the author was writing. He was basically a flash in the pan and didn't have much of a presence. But now, Hu Xiaofeng, the original male lead, Ning Qirui and Luo Weibing, who were popular in the original novel, had either turned against Wen Jinping or been intercepted by Su Yiyan halfway. Even Dou Tianyi, the villain in the original novel, seemed to be very cold to her. When Wen Jinping met Ding Juexi at this time, she didn't know if the two of them would have any chemistry different from the original novel. Not a coincidence. Didn't Hai Yi's drama finish filming long ago? What is Wen Jinping doing near the crew? From the information, it seems that she is going for an audition. Xia Junsheng suddenly realized. You suspect that the crew she is going to audition for is Ding Juexi's? Can it be so coincidental? Su Yiyan didn't dare to say if other people would do it, but if it was Wen Jinping, it might not be impossible. As the female lead of the world, even if she didn't have most of the halo, she still had some luck. Whether it is or not, she is going for an audition anyway. I just don't know if Mr. Ding will help her to the end and help her to the end. Chapter 899. In the original work, Wen Jinping and Ding Juexi only came into contact in the later stages. At that time, Wen Jinping was already famous in the industry, and the two of them got to know each other because of a small accident. The difference was that in the original work, Wen Jinping helped Ding Juexi with a small favor and gained Ding Juexi's favor. After that, Ding Juexi returned the favor and recommended Wen Jinping to join the cast of the new drama as an important female supporting role. Wen Jinping relied on this role to reach a higher level in her career and fame. Ding Juexi also secretly had feelings for Wen Jinping during the process of getting along with her in the crew. To a certain extent, he mentally cheated on her. Now, the situation of the two of them was completely reversed. The one who helped was Ding Juexi, and the one who was helped was Wen Jinping. It was unknown if Ding Juexi would still recommend Wen Jinping to join the cast like in the original work. Even if Ding Juexi really did so, the current Wen Jinping was neither famous nor popular. Could she really get an important role in the original work if she joined the cast? Get people to keep an eye on them, especially get people to investigate what resources Wen Jinping has recently received and whether these resources are related to Ding Juexi. Of course, it would be even better if we can take some intimate photos related to them. Xia Junsheng was shocked when he heard her words. You suspect that she and Ding Juexi, what does it matter if it's true? With her reputation, even if it's an accident, many people will let their imaginations run wild. Didn't you see how fiercely Ding Juexi's fans scolded her when he saved her? Su Yiyan raised the corners of her eyes slightly and revealed a mocking look. We didn't wrongly accuse her. If there's really a situation, we'll take photos. If there isn't, then forget it. Ding Juexi's wife has been with him for more than 10 years and even gave birth to a son and a daughter for him. If he was so easily seduced by Wen Jinping, it can only be said that his wife was entrusted to the wrong person. More than 10 years of my youth have been fed to the dogs, and in the end, I still have to be kept in the dark, working hard for him without complaint, taking care of the house and taking care of the children. If it were you, would you pretend that you didn't know anything and just muddle through, or would you hope that a kind-hearted person who couldn't stand it would inform you earlier so that you could cut your losses in time? Xia Junsheng choked. If it were him, he would naturally hope that it was the latter. No, that's not right. Why would a single dog like him need to think about such things? If he had to choose, he would definitely choose neither of them. He would work hard to find a partner who would never betray him. Xia Junsheng realized that he had been led into a trap by Su Yiyan. He pushed up his glasses and said seriously, I understand. I'll get someone to keep an eye on them. Su Yiyen didn't want to use malicious eyes to speculate about people she didn't know, but with the lessons learned from the original work, she had to be on guard. If Mr. Ding behaved himself, she would let it go. She did not have the hobby of ruining people's families. But if someone took things too hard and wanted to court death, she could not be blamed. Huo Qihan thought that the time when he was driven out of the Huo family was the most difficult time in his life. Unexpectedly, only a few months later, he was slapped in the face again. On the day when the family Huo servants stole the children, Huo Qihan waited for a long time for someone to bring the children over. He immediately realized that something was wrong. He hurriedly asked Shuai Xiao to pack up the valuables and prepared to take them out to hide. As a result, when the two of them rushed to the airport with big and small bags, they were scared back by a group of people who had been waiting at the airport in advance. It was impossible to go back to their original place of residence. Huo Qihan made a prompt decision to take Shuai Xiao to hide in the remote suburbs. Chapter 900. Huo Qihan had a lot of properties under his name, but during the time when he was driven out of the Huo family, he had discounted a lot in order to maintain his high expenses. Moreover, during this sensitive period, hiding in a house under his name was tantamount to walking into a trap. However, most people like them would leave a few backup plans for themselves just in case. Huo Qihan first took Shuai Xiao to a small 2-story bungalow with a courtyard in the suburbs, which he had transferred to her name because she was pregnant. As a result, less than a day after they settled down, they heard the siren of a police car from a distance that night. They were so scared that they got up, picked up their things and ran away. After that, they didn't dare to run to the properties under their names. They only hid here and there, looking for houses to rent, and ran to the dilapidated slums. They thought that as long as they hid in a place where good people mingled with bad people, the police wouldn't be able to find them in a short time. As a result, they were discovered not long after they arrived at a place. They ran away, were discovered, ran away again, and were discovered again. After several times, Huo Qihan's mood had long been on the verge of collapse. Damn it, why are these people like dog skin plasters? I can't tear them off. Hearing the familiar siren again, Huo Qihan rushed out of the bathroom without wearing his pants. His face was full of anger, and he couldn't wait to rush out and fight with the police. It was impossible to fight. Shuai Xiaoyu seemed to be used to this kind of torment. He quickly packed up his things and took Huo Qihan's hand, saying, "Don't be impulsive. Where there is life, there is hope. If you're caught by them now, we'll really have no hope left." Huo Qihan's face looked a little better after being persuaded by her. He held Shuai Xiao and left the temporarily rented house before the police came. They ran out in the middle of the night and didn't even have a place to stay. Generally, in a bigger and safer hotel, they had to use their ID cards to get a room, so they didn't dare to go there. In the end, in order not to live on the street and compete with those tramps, they had to enter a particularly shabby hotel. Not only did they spend a lot of money, but the room was also very simple. The walls were yellow, the curtains were old, and even the quilt they were going to cover tonight smelled damp and rotten. Huo Qihan had never suffered like this before. As soon as he entered the room, his face was as black as the bottom of a pot. Shuai Xiao saw his pale face and knew that he was angry. He sighed and comforted him, "The conditions here are not good. But it's a special time. Let's bear with it. Once you get past this hurdle, you'll slowly get better." Huo Qihan looked at the woman who had been by his side for the past few days. His heart, which had been filled with anger and unwillingness, could not help but soften a little. He reached out and pulled her into his embrace. Touched, he said, "I've wronged you." Shuai Xiao buried herself in his arms and replied in a muffled voice, "No, it's nothing as long as I can be with you." Huo Qihan was even more moved when he heard this. Who would have thought that the high-spirited person in charge of the Huo group 2 years ago would not only lose his company 2 years later, but also turn against his wife and children. Even those partners who used to call him brothers and flatter him would kick him when he was down and shut him out. The only one who stayed by his side and was dead set on him was this little woman who was his mistress on a whim. Hua Qihan was disappointed and resentful. He solemnly promised Xue Xiaoyu, I promise, as long as we get through this difficulty, I will marry you and treat you wholeheartedly for the rest of my life. Chapter 901. Yes. Xue Xiaoyu answered in a low voice and buried her face more tightly in Hua Qihan's arms. Hua Qihan only thought that she was moved by his promise and did not think much about it. They stayed in this dark and damp room for 3 days. Hua Qihan had a hard time during these 3 days. The place where they lived had a musty smell. The nutrient solution sent to them was of the cheapest and inferior quality, and it had an expired smell. Hua Qihan was a real hedonist. His 3 meals a day were either cooked by the private chef at home or by the chef of a high-end restaurant. Then they would be sent to his company. He hardly touched nutrient solution. Even if he had to drink it, he would definitely choose the most expensive one. For this reason, Hua Qihan almost broke out on the spot and had a conflict with the hotel owner. In the end, Xue Xiaoyu persuaded him with a lot of good words. The only fortunate thing was that the 3 days in this shabby hotel were the safest 3 days for Hua Qihan since the accident. Just when Hua Qihan thought that this shabby hotel could really hide from the police officers who were searching everywhere outside and that he only needed to endure for a few more days to avoid the limelight and leave this place. A team of law enforcement officers suddenly appeared at the door of their room and broke in without warning. This completely shattered Hua Qihan's luck and hope. Don't move. Raise your hands. Hua Qihan opened his eyes wide and looked at this scene in disbelief. You're finally here. Xue Xiaoyu heard the movement and came out of the bathroom with a relaxed and happy smile on her face. Hua Qihan was stunned for a few seconds before he realized what she meant. He was shocked, frightened and angry. You? It's you. Yes, it's me. Xue Xiaoyu finally showed her true colors at this moment. She looked at Hua Qihan indifferently with some disgust and hatred. You are a bitch. The string in Hua Qihan's mind finally broke. He ignored the people at the door who were staring at him covetously. He roared and rushed toward Xue Xiaoyu and grabbed her neck. The people outside the door hurried forward to help. A group of people dragged Hua Qihan and even punched him several times before they could separate him from Xue Xiaoyu. Cough cough, cough cough cough. Xue Xiao held the yellowed wall with one hand and coughed so hard that his eyes turned red. There was a large red handprint on her fair neck. It was obvious that Hua Qihan had used all his strength just now and really wanted to strangle her to death. You bitch. Even you betrayed me. You liar, slut, whore. Hua Qihan cursed and spat out all kinds of vulgar words, but Xue Xiao's face was cold from beginning to end. She was abnormally calm. When he was tired of scolding, he faintly spat out a sentence, I was never one of your people, how can I betray you? What? Hua Qihan suddenly stopped struggling. Just as he was about to ask Xue Xiao who was her subordinate, she asked coldly, do you still remember the piece of land in Yuan Square 10 years ago? 10 years ago. Hua Qihan looked confused, as if he couldn't remember what Xue Xiao was talking about. Xue Xiao looked at Hua Qihan's blank face, which didn't seem to be fake. The pretended indifference and coldness on her face completely cracked because of Hua Qihan's reaction. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Chapter 902. Her arrogant and sharp laughter reverberated in the empty room. As she laughed, tears fell from her eyes. You don't remember. You don't remember. With tears on her face, Xue Xiaoyu stared at Hua Qihan with red eyes, like a devil who had crawled back from hell. It doesn't matter, as long as I remember. 10 years ago, there was a major safety accident in Yuan Square. My father, my mother, and my sister, 3 lives, I remember them all. The reason why I have lived to this day without dignity is that I want you to pay for what you have done. When Hua Qihan heard Xue Xiaoyu's words, something seemed to flash through his mind. His face suddenly turned pale, and he looked at Xue Xiaoyu with a little more fear and panic. Su Yiyan and Xue Xiaoyu knew about Hu Qihan's arrest as soon as they found out about it. Caught. So soon, you took action. You can say so, but you can also say no. Su Yiyan turned to look at him. What do you mean? The person who leaked his whereabouts was his little lover. She was also the one who secretly tipped off the police. Hu Qihan's little lover. Su Yiyan blinked. You mean the mistress who had a miscarriage before? It's her. But why? Doesn't Hu Qihan love her very much? When he ran away, he took her with him. This is true love. If a man killed all your relatives except you, and only treated you like a kitten or a puppy for 1 or 2 years, would you fall in love with him? Of course not. Su Yiyan realized something was wrong when she was about to say it. Do you mean that Hu Qihan is his lover's enemy? Hu Chenhuan looked at her with a faint smile and did not speak. Wait, let me take a break. Su Yiyan held her forehead and tried to digest this shocking news. A person like Hu Qihan would never keep someone by his side knowing that they have a grudge against him. So, could it be that she got close to Hu Qihan because, when Su Yiyan said this, she subconsciously glanced at her man and saw that he still had a knowing smile on his face. She seemed to realize something and said, You already knew? Yes. Then she was pregnant with Hu Qihan's child before. Wait a minute. Su Yiyan raised the corners of her eyes slightly, and her expression was subtle. Could it be that her child isn't Hu Qihan's? It was one thing for the son to be cheated on, but the father was also cheated on. TSK, this family was really, it's his. It's his. Su Yiyan was stunned. Aren't they enemies? How did she? She didn't give birth. What? Hu Chenhuan stared into Su Yiyan's eyes and said word by word, she didn't give birth. Su Yiyan suddenly understood something and her heart trembled. From the beginning, she didn't intend to give birth to this child. Yes. Su Yiyan could not accept the fact that a woman would betray herself for revenge, but she would even use the child in her womb for her own benefit. It was too cruel, but at the same time, it also made people feel her strong hatred for Hu Qihan. Su Yiyan paused for a while before asking the biggest question in her heart at the moment. What did Hu Qihan do to make her hate him so much? I just said that Hu Qihan indirectly forced everyone in her family to death except for her. Hu Chenhuan paused and her eyes were slightly cold. Her father, mother, and her biological sister who had just reached adulthood at that time. Chapter 903. Su Yiyan's face changed slightly. After a long silence, she asked, because of what? A piece of land. A piece of land? Su Yiyan frowned slightly. What land? Yuan Square in the south of the city. Have you heard of it? Su Yiyan pondered for a moment and nodded. I know. I went there with Xiaoqi before. That square was renovated by the Hu Group. 10 years ago, it was originally a large open space. Su Yiyan pursed her lips and asked tentatively, what's wrong with this piece of land? Since you have been there with your friends, you should know that the land is located in the central area of the south of the city. It has a good geographical location and a large flow of people. It is now a square, but in fact, the land was originally intended to be used to build an office building. Office building? Su Yiyan was a little surprised. How did it become a square later? Because of a well-planned accident. A well-planned accident? Hu Qihan did it? Yes. Hu Chenhuan received his wife's shocked and curious little eyes. His eyes darkened slightly and he explained, at that time, Hu Qihan had just taken over the Hu Group. His foundation was not stable, and he urgently needed to do something to convince his subordinates. So, he set his eyes on this piece of land? Yes. Unfortunately, he was one step late. This piece of land had already been bought by an investment trademark surnamed Xue. Surnamed Xue. Su Yiyan looked at Hu Qinhuan inquiringly. Is it? Yes, this investor surnamed Shui is Shui Xiaoyu's father. Su Yiyan's eyes flashed slightly, and she instantly grasped the key point. What did Hu Qihan do to get this piece of land? He bribed several purchasing workers at the construction site and mixed some defective products into the raw materials used for construction. He cut corners. Su Yiyan's heart thumped. It was really heartless to play tricks on this kind of thing. If they were not careful, they might have to accept their fate. And then, not long after, the construction site collapsed. 7 people were crushed under the collapsed ruins. 3 died and 4 were injured. Su Yiyan's face darkened. He gritted his teeth and said, he really deserves to die. He does deserve to die, but that's not all he's done. Hu Qinhuan paused, and a chill flashed through her eyes. After the accident, Hu Qihan bribed some senior executives in Shui Xiaoqi's company who had long been dissatisfied with Shui Xiaoqi's father. They joined forces with the media to frame Shui Xiaoqi's father, and even instigated the families of the workers who died or were injured in the accident to make trouble. At that time, all the evidence pointed to Shui Xiaofeng's father, and the public opinion was very unfavorable to him. The stock price of Shui Xiao's father's company plummeted. His partners withdrew their investment, and the capital chain was broken. Finally, he had to file for bankruptcy and sell his family property to repay the huge debt. Speaking of this, Hu Qinhuan looked up at Su Yiyan and told her the final ending of Shui Xiao's family after this vicious and cruel business game. After the company went bankrupt, Shui Xiaoqi's father died on the spot in a car accident because he didn't sleep or rest for several days. Shui Xiaoqi's mother fell ill after hearing the bad news. She didn't have the money to treat her illness, so she died soon after, leaving Shui Xiaoqi and his sister to depend on each other. Shui Xiaoqi's sister's situation is a little special. She is a little girl. A little girl? Then she jumped off a building. Su Yiyan was shocked. She jumped off a building? Hu Qinhuan looked at her deeply and said in a low voice, yes. Chapter 904. Most of the children were unsociable, and afraid of people. They needed more companionship and care from their family. Shui Xiao's parents were very loving. They loved their little daughter who was different from other children since she was a child. Shui Xiao was nearly 10 years younger than her sister. When her sister was born, she already knew something. She was not dissatisfied with the new member of the family because of her parents' love for her sister. Instead, she knew how to protect her sister since she was a child. However, such a harmonious and happy family died because of Hu Qihan's selfishness. Shui Xiao was the only one left in the family. At that time, Shui Xiao had to deal with her father's funeral and take care of her sick mother. She didn't take care of her sister. Hu Qinhuan paused. Her sister jumped off the building on the day of her mother's death. It was the unfinished building that her father bought, but the construction was suspended because of a construction accident. She jumped off the dozens of meters high empty building without any hesitation. She took away a fresh life and the last trace of warmth in Shui Xiao's heart. Although Su Yiyan had known that their family was miserable in advance, her heart still trembled when she heard this. The head of the family died suddenly. Her mother died of illness because she had no money to treat her illness. Even the only remaining family member, she must hate him very much. How could she not hate him? Yes, how could she not hate him? To fall apart just like that, with their family broken up and their people dead, who could bear it? She hated him so much, but she became his lover. Maybe it's because she didn't care about it anymore. Su Yiyan felt bad when she heard this. That was why people said that the barefoot were not afraid of the shoes. People who had nothing could even sacrifice their lives, let alone these things. In their eyes, they were just walking corpses. They had nothing to lose. They persisted until now because they were not willing to die like this. The person who caused their tragedy was living a better life than anyone else. I hope that after this, she can find a place where no one knows her and start over again. If her parents were still alive, they wouldn't want her to ruin her life because of hatred. Hearing her words, Hu Qinhuan knew that she had compassion for Xue Xiao. After a moment of silence, she asked in a low voice, "Do you want to see her?" "Why would I want to see him?" Su Yiyan couldn't help but laugh. Originally, he was just a person who lived in the news. It was strange for him to suddenly run over to meet him at this time. She is indeed pitiful, but since she can make such a decision and risk herself, I think she doesn't need other people's sympathy. Speaking of this, Su Yiyan turned to look at Hu Qinhuan and chuckled. What we can do for him is to make Hu Qihan's crime more serious. It's best if he can get the retribution he deserves. It can also be considered as a way to comfort those who have been hurt by him. Hu Qinhuan hugged Su Yiyan's waist from behind and buried his head in her neck. At that time, the reason why he had a little bit of compassion for Xue Xiao was that she was a little similar to him at that time. Once upon a time, he also felt that he had lost everything. His loving parents and complete family were all broken up overnight. At that time, he also had an extreme idea. He wanted to destroy the world and drag everyone down with him. Fortunately, he still wanted her. Fortunately, they were all right now. Chapter 905. Hu Qihan was finally arrested, and Su Yiyan was finally able to completely relax after a few days. In order to celebrate the fact that this scourge would no longer be able to cause any more trouble, and to thank her family and friends for their care and concern during her pregnancy, Su Yiyan decided to hold a lively barbecue party at home. Barbecue was not difficult to make as long as the ingredients were prepared in advance, so it was very suitable for a group meal. Today, in addition to Gu Xiaoyang and the others, Su Yiyan also invited Ling Xiaoqi and the Lan family. Naturally, the Su family was not left out. When Qing Xiuqin heard that his little grandson had almost been stolen, he wanted to come over in a hurry. Later, when he heard that the child had been taken to the company by Hu Qinhuan, his eldest son personally went to Hu Qinhuan's company to take a few videos of his little grandson sleeping. He finally settled down. When they heard that Su Yiyan was going to hold a barbecue party at home, the family of three ran over before dawn. They held the little boy and refused to let go of him. Su Yiyan knew that she was in the wrong for not telling them about this before. She touched her nose guiltily and did not want to fight with them. Fortunately, not long after, the others rushed over one after another. Seeing that there were outsiders present, Qing Xiuqin and the others did not want to pursue this matter in front of others. They glared at Su Yiyan and did not mention it again. Su Yiyan breathed a sigh of relief and secretly gave a thumbs up to these saviors in her heart. However, when she saw Ling Xiaoqi and Ning Xiyuan who came together, she could not help but twitch the corners of her mouth. Ling Xiaoqi, you've gone too far. Su Yiyan put her hands on her hips and looked at the group of people of all sizes. She almost laughed out of anger. Previously, when you attended my baby's 1-month-old birthday party, I didn't say anything about you because you brought a family member. Today, he even brought the dogs with him, and a bunch of them. That's right, Ling Xiaoqi had also brought along Hua Hua. Besides Hua Hua, there were also the 2 puppies that Hua Hua had given birth to. The puppy that Su Yiyan had been very fond of, Little Curly Hair, who had been snatched away halfway. When Su Yiyan saw Little Curly Hair, he thought, look at how much this curly hair resembles his Dun-Dun. Back then, she liked this one the most. In the end, it was given away by Ling Xiaoqi as a token of love. In the end, her dog was gone, and so was her sister-in-law. Now, looking at the 2 of them walking over side by side with the 3 dogs, they looked like a family of 5. Su Yiyan felt that his mentality had collapsed. What happened to the dog? Ling Xiaoqi wasn't happy to hear her say that. Don't forget, who was the one who impregnated our Hua Hua? Our poor Hua Hua is only a 1-year-old puppy. Not only did she get pregnant at such a young age, but now even the puppies she gave birth to are despised. Public morals are really degenerating day by day. People's hearts are not what they used to be. Do you even have a heart? Su Yiyan listened to Ling Xiaoqi's righteous criticism, and the corners of her mouth twitched even more. She had only said a few words, and she was already defending her. In the past, she only knew that this little girl was a drama queen, but she hadn't expected her to be such a drama queen. The most important thing was that she had forgotten her friends in the face of lust. Su Yiyan opened her mouth and wanted to say something, but a cheerful figure rushed out with a whoosh and pounced on the lazy Hua Hua in front of Ling Xiaoqi. Woof woof woof, woof woof woof, there was a moment of awkwardness between the two of them. Ling Xiaoqi spread her hands at Su Yiyan with a look that said, "See, I brought my Hua Hua here not for myself, but for your little perverted puppy. You still have the cheek to criticize me? Don't you feel guilty?" Chapter 906. Su Yiyan stared at his dog, who kept rubbing against Hua Hua like a small rice cake. Even after being suppressed by force several times, it still didn't change its nature of being a bootlicker. It shamelessly went over to lick Hua Hua's fur. He felt that his face had been thrown into outer space. "You little puppy, can't you save some face for your master?" Su Yiyan was so angry that he wanted to beat the dog. Just then, the Lan family arrived. Only Yan Xiaoran, Lan Jiaye, and the Lan family's baby came. The baby was a few months older than little Xingxing. He was soft and white like a glutinous rice ball, and was very likable. "You're here. Just the two of you?" Yan Xiaoran carried the baby and explained with a faint smile, "Grandpa and the rest are old and don't like to move much, so they didn't come. As for Mom and Dad, they said that since it's a gathering organized by youngsters, it's mostly youngsters. Since they're here, everyone won't be able to relax, so they won't join in." Although Father Lan and Mother Lan were of the same generation as Hu Qinhuan, they were almost 2 generations older than them. Just as Yan Xiaoran said, the people who came were all youngsters. There was a generation gap between them and middle-aged people like them. They couldn't chat or play together. If they came, everyone might be more restrained in the presence of the elders, and it would be a waste of everyone's mood. As for Minghan, something came up at the company, so he went to deal with it. He might be a little late. It's fine, it's fine. It's still early. When he comes, I'll probably just finish packing. Let's go in and sit for a while. I'll go make some soup first. You can drink it when you're tired of the barbecue. Okay. Yan Xiaoran nodded and walked in with the baby. Lan Jiaye followed behind her, looking at her with a complicated gaze. There was even a hint of sadness in his hesitation. Su Yiyan felt goosebumps all over his body. He asked, Are you okay?" Before he could finish his sentence, Lan Jiaye's face turned pale. He turned around and ran away. Su Yiyan. No, what was going on? Was she some kind of scourge? Why did she run away without saying anything? Was she that scary? This interlude did not last long. After all, Su Yiyan still had to prepare a few Chinese medicinal herbs and ingredients for the live stream later. For the time being, she did not have the mood to explore the twists and turns in someone's heart. She thought that after Lan Jiaye left, she would have to at least wait until she was done with her work for the day before she could talk to him again. Unexpectedly, just 5 minutes after Su Yiyan entered the kitchen, she prepared all the ingredients needed to make soup. Just as she was about to start the live broadcast, a certain someone eagerly followed her. "Why are you here? You scared me." Su Yiyan turned her head and saw Lan Jiaye standing at the kitchen door, staring at her. His elusive manner was comparable to that of a ghost. She shuddered in fear. Lan Jiaye stared at Su Yiyan for a while, then asked excitedly and nervously, "Auntie, you're the host, right?" Su Yiyan was startled. Had she accidentally exposed herself? Did she have to be so caught off guard? Lan Jiaye saw that Su Yiyan did not say anything, but he seemed to already have an answer. "You're the host, right? I should have known. I should have realized." It was so obvious. My brother and sister-in-law could tell. I call myself the host's die-hard fan, but I didn't realize it at all. On the day of the medicinal cuisine restaurant's opening, and the gift you gave to my grandfather on his birthday. You guys are too much. You, my brother, and sister-in-law all knew, but you didn't tell me. Chapter 907. The young master, who had been spoiled since he was a child, had not even had the chance to experience the harsh beatings of society before he was beaten by his family. That was when he learned how evil people could be. Everyone knew Su Yiyen's identity. They knew that he was a loyal fan of the streamer and had been looking forward to meeting her in person one day. Yet, no one was willing to remind him or tell him anything. They just watched as he was played in circles. Lan Jiaye felt as if he had been wronged like a dog that weighed a few hundred pounds. His gaze towards Su Yiyen was filled with uncontrollable grief and sadness. Su Yiyen felt like a heartless man who had abandoned her after having sex with her. The corner of her mouth could not help but twitch. This development wasn't right. Under normal circumstances, shouldn't one be especially excited when they suddenly found out that the person they had always wanted to meet was right next to them? Why did the one in front of her look so angry instead? Cough, cough. Calm down first. Before Su Yiyen could finish, Lan Jiaye had already cut her off. So, are you the streamer? I am. Ow wow. The tears that Lan Jiaye had been holding back for a long time flowed down like a broken faucet. His howls were earth-shattering and earth-shattering. Even Dun Dun, who had been circling around Hua Hua, ran over when it heard his cries. It circled Lan Jiaye in circles as if it was wondering what was going on with this two-legged beast that could make the same sounds as them. Could it be that they were of the same kind? Hua Hua saw Dun Dun's silly look from afar and almost wrote the word idiot on its cat face. Lan Jiaye was also a little confused by this fat dog that had appeared out of nowhere. His cries had finally stopped. Su Yiyen saw this and coughed lightly. She took the initiative to ask, "How did you find out? Did your brother and sister-in-law tell you?" Lan Jiaye's face fell when he heard that. He looked at Su Yiyen even more sadly. If they had told me, I wouldn't be so depressed. Then how did you know? Indeed, Lan Jiaye did not think in that direction at first. That was until Su Yiyen's last live stream, when one of the live stream's images was captured on Su Yiyen's hand, and the wedding ring on Su Yiyen's hand was captured. At that time, Lan Jiaye felt that the ring looked familiar, but when he wanted to look at it again, the camera had already turned elsewhere. If it were any other time, he would have missed such a small detail. At most, Lan Jiaye would think that he had seen wrongly and wouldn't look into it. However, perhaps because he wanted to find Su Yiyen so badly, after the live stream ended that day, Lan Jiaye found that short recording and watched it back and forth a dozen times before he finally confirmed that he had seen the ring before. However, even though he had seen it before, he couldn't remember where he had seen it before. That was until he accidentally heard his sister-in-law mention that Su Yiyen and Hu Qinhuan's wedding ring was custom-made. Not only was it beautiful, but it also had a special meaning. Unlike her and his brother, who had only bought a pair of vegetarian rings when they got married. It couldn't be any better to say that it was simple and generous. They really didn't have any romantic cells. It was this unintentional remark that made Lan Jiaye's mind flash. He finally remembered who he had seen the ring on. Many things were originally blinded by a single leaf. If you didn't think in that direction, you would turn a blind eye to it. However, once you found the key to Pandora's box, you would find the things that you had overlooked in the past one by one. At first, I was just guessing. I ran to ask my sister-in-law and brother, but they only smiled at me slyly. They didn't say yes or no. Chapter 908. The corner of Su Yiyen's mouth twitched slightly. That was something the two of them would do. They had promised not to reveal her identity, but they didn't want to lie to their loved ones. The best way was to stay silent and pretend to be dead. However, in Lan Jiaye's eyes, their actions were no different from tacit agreement. If they didn't say anything, I didn't dare to jump to conclusions. Until I came to your house today. When Lan Jiaye said this, he subconsciously looked up at Su Yiyan, and his eyes became more and more sorrowful. The streamer announced yesterday that she was going to have a barbecue live stream today. Barbecue was something that could be seen from the reactions of Gu Xiaoyang and Su Yiyan when Su Yiyan mentioned it. Other than Su Yiyan, probably no one else knew about it. The main reason was that there were no seasonings like chili and pepper. Even if the recipes passed down from the past recorded how to make barbecue, it was useless without the ingredients. It was not strange that people in this era did not know about it. It was reasonable to say that something that should be unique suddenly coincided at a certain time and place. Not to mention that Lan Jiaye originally had doubts about Su Yiyan. Even if he didn't before, he should have guessed it by now. Not to mention, Su Yiyan and the streamer he had been thinking about had another overlap, and that was the timing of her pregnancy. Lan Jiaye felt that he was really stupid when he thought about it. When the little guy was 1 month old, he came with the elders to give gifts. The streamer had never concealed her pregnancy and had even stopped live streaming for several months because of it. Obviously, the two of them had similar schedules in all aspects, but he was blind to it. Just thinking about it made him depressed. Ahem. Su Yiyan looked at Lan Jiaye's pitiful appearance and couldn't help but feel a little apologetic. She touched her nose and explained, "Actually, I didn't mean to hide it. I never said that I wasn't a streamer, and I never said that I was a fan of the streamer." Lan Jiaye shuddered. Thinking back carefully, he realized that Su Yiyan had indeed never said that she was a fan of the streamer. It was he who saw her sitting alone in the corner of the medicinal cuisine house and subconsciously thought that she was a viewer of the streamer's live stream room like him. She had deliberately come to support the streamer's opening. Now that he thought about it, the restaurant was very lively at that time. Almost all the other tables were full of people, and only Su Yiyan's table was empty. That wasn't an empty seat. It was clearly a special seat that the employees had reserved for their boss. He even ran over excitedly to share a table with him. He didn't even recognize that he was the boss behind the scenes and foolishly praised him a lot. Now that he recalled the scene back then, Lan Jiaye wanted to dig a hole for himself and hide in it. He was ashamed and angry, but he was even more disappointed. All right, I admit that I was wrong. I apologize to you. You're a magnanimous person, so please don't lower yourself to my level, okay? You're not wrong. I was stupid. Lan Jiaye cried again after he finished speaking. Without waiting for Su Yiyan to say anything, he turned around and ran away. He looked very much like the tragic female lead in a melodramatic romance drama who was betrayed by a scumbag. Su Yiyan. He left just like that. Why didn't she realize that her nephew was a crybaby before? Lan Jiaye left, but Su Yiyan's live stream was still on. Because of this small episode, Su Yiyan started her live stream later than the original announcement. At this time, there was already a large group of viewers squatting in the live stream room, discussing why she hadn't arrived yet. Chapter 909. The screen flashed, and the familiar background of the live broadcast popped up. The audience, who had been lazy and dispirited because of Su Yiyan's lateness, was instantly overjoyed, as if they had been injected with chicken blood. The host is finally here. We've been waiting for so long. The host is late. Shouldn't she be punished? Yes. The live broadcast was promised at 9 o'clock. She's already 10 minutes late. Don't underestimate these 10 minutes. Isn't there a saying that a day apart feels like 3 years? A day is 3 years. These 10 minutes are equivalent to a week. Host, you've made us wait for so long. How can you not express your gratitude, righteous? JPG. Su Yiyan looked at the screen full of comments asking for benefits. The corners of her lips curled up slightly, and she said with a faint smile, "I was delayed by something at the last minute. It's my fault for making you wait for so long. However, I have good news to tell everyone today. For the sake of this good news, would you consider forgiving me?" Good news? What good news? Is a new batch of medicinal herbs going to be put on the shelves again? Really? Really? The first batch was really too difficult to get. I mobilized 10 to 20 people in my family, young and old, and only managed to get one set of lotus seeds. Woof. Come on out. Upstairs, be content. At least you managed to get one set. Unlike our family, which had more than 10 people, young and old, we didn't even get a single set. Vicissitudes of life lighting smoke. JPG, facts have proven that hand speed is very important when it comes to snatching things. I've been single for 20 years. I'm a bald athlete who has dedicated most of my youth to esports. Back then, I won the Global Esports League Championship, but my family didn't acknowledge me. This time, with my own strength, I helped my family's 8 aunts and 6 aunts get one set each. Now, I've successfully been promoted to the family's most beautiful child. Worship the big boss, and grab the big boss's pants while you're at it. We didn't even get a single set, but you actually got so many. You're too hateful. He, I also got one set. When I came back, I followed the recording in the host's live broadcast room and made a soup. Although it's not as tasty as the host's, it's my first time cooking. I'm satisfied that I can eat it. The most important thing is that after drinking it, I really feel much more relaxed. It's rare for me to have insomnia for 1 or 2 years. I slept until noon, and I didn't even wake up once. Even my mother said that the dark circles under my eyes have faded a lot after a few days. It could be seen that this was a suffering patient who suffered from insomnia. He was also the first person to benefit from the sale of the Chinese medicinal herbs. There were many people like her. In fact, after the first batch of medicinal herbs went on the market, it exploded in various circles of friends, relatives, and even the academic and medical circles. Su Yiyen's previous livestream lucky draw had a limited number of people. Later on, when he opened a physical store, the number of customers he could receive every day was also limited. Even though Su Yiyen's medicinal cuisine restaurant had won a certain amount of praise due to the wave of pre-orders, there were still some things that he had never eaten or used before. No matter how well others praised him, there would always be a question mark in his heart. Although the first batch of Chinese medicinal herbs was in short supply, the quantity was really not small. It was only because there were too many people who wanted to buy it that it gave people the illusion of hunger marketing. After being bought online, the time it took for the goods to arrive was also very fast. Many people began to eat almost as soon as they got the goods. Therefore, these days, some of the more popular public circles of friends and even the comments section under Su Yiyen's live broadcast room were almost occupied by all kinds of dark cuisine pictures. Chapter 9-10. Firstly, they wanted to let Su Yiyen, the original host, see it and comment on it. Secondly, they wanted to show off that they had defeated nearly 8 figures of competitors and won first place. Su Yiyen saw that many people were discussing the effects of the first batch of herbs. He patiently watched for a while. After making sure that most of the comments were positive, he was slightly relieved and continued with the previous topic. It will take some time for the new herbs to be delivered. For those who haven't bought them, don't worry. The Research Institute will deliver them regularly. The good news I'm going to tell you today is not this, but this. Su Yiyen took out a small medicine bag as he spoke. I already previewed today's live broadcast yesterday. It's barbecue. Eating too much barbecue will make it easy to get heaty, and some people with poor stomachs will have diarrhea if they eat too much. So, after eating barbecue, you will need to drink some soup to nourish the stomach to neutralize the heat. The bag in my hand is the 4 gentlemen. The so-called 4 gentlemen refers to ginseng, atractylodes, poria cocos, and licorice. They are put together in a certain ratio into a bag, which is the bag in my hand. As Su Yayan spoke, she handed the medicine bag in her hand to the camera so that everyone could see what was inside. The amount in this bag is just enough to go with a few ribs and stew a small cup of soup. It's just enough for one person to drink. If it's a family, you can add 1 or 2 more bags. It's the same if you stew it together. Su Yiyen put the ribs and herbs into the casserole. He added an appropriate amount of water and began to boil. You can decide the amount of water you want, but I suggest that 1 bag should be enough for 2 or 3 bowls of water. If it's too diluted, it might lose its taste. Of course, there are also taboo groups for this. Breastfeeding mothers can't drink it because most of the food and drink during breastfeeding will dissolve in the breast milk and affect the baby. Babies who like to have pimples on their faces shouldn't drink it. What's suitable and what's not suitable will be written on the outside of the package. If you're not sure about your body's condition, you can do a small checkup before choosing the medicine that's beneficial to your body. Next, let's give a wave of benefits to the babies who are suffering from menstrual pain. As soon as Su Yiyen said this, the female viewers who were waiting in the live broadcast room were instantly excited. I've been waiting for you. Luckily, I didn't give up. It's coming, is the host going to make soup again? I'm on my period today, and it hurts so much that I want to cry. Everyone, please take pity on a bedridden wretch like me. Let me win the lottery later. Please, sob sob sob. The screen of the live stream was flooded with messages asking for the lucky draw. Su Yiyen glanced at them with regret. The next medicine packet is also a mixture of 4 types of herbs. It's called the 4 things. There's Angelica sinensis, Ligusticum chuanxiong, white peony, and Rhizoma chinensis. I've used Angelica sinensis and Rhizoma chinensis in my previous live stream. These 2 things have the effect of regulating menstruation and nourishing blood. White peony and Ligusticum chuanxiong also have the effect of promoting blood circulation, relieving pain, and regulating menstruation. But it's worth noting that the Siwu decoction promotes blood circulation. You can't drink it during your menstrual period. It's best to drink it before or after. It depends on one's habits. I usually drink it after it's finished. I can boil it in soup or stew it in chicken soup. If you like sweet things, you can add some red dates and rock sugar. The effect is good and the taste is good. Oh right, breastfeeding mothers can't drink it either. The reason is the same as before. Chapter 9-11. When Su Yiyen mentioned it, many people began to lament that it was not easy for pregnant women. After 10 months of pregnancy, they had to breastfeed the child. They could not eat this or that. When Su Yiyen saw these comments, she could not help but laugh. That's right. A woman is willing to risk her body being out of shape, her body being weak and swollen, and even the risk of having a lot of sequelae after giving birth. She is willing to bear a child for you and give birth to the fruit of your love. Needless to say, after giving birth, many people have to help take care of the child and breastfeed the child. They are very busy. If she doesn't really like the child and really loves you, why would she suffer for no reason? Before complaining that your wife has a bad temper during pregnancy and becomes a haggard old woman after giving birth, you should think about your wife's sacrifice. Also, did you fulfill your responsibility as a husband during your wife's pregnancy? Did you give your wife enough care and a sense of security? As soon as Su Yiyen finished speaking, a comment floated on the screen. Then when the host was pregnant, did the host's husband fulfill his responsibility as a husband? Su Yiyen was taken aback, and then she slowly smiled. Him. Barely passing. At that time, Hua Chenhuan, who was sitting in the corner of the hall and watching the live broadcast, raised his eyebrows when he heard Su Yiyen's words. There were slight ripples in his deep eyes. I think the host is being sarcastic. Passing or something like that. She said it so sweetly. It's too sweet. Oh, the host doesn't mean what she says. It's not like everyone only found out today. Previously, the host's frequency of live broadcasts was greatly reduced when she was pregnant. Did you really think the host was slacking off? No, that's the host's husband's love for her. The bullet screen in the live broadcast room suddenly changed from asking for a prize to ridiculing the host. Su Yiyen was blushed by everyone's words and simply stopped watching. Today, I'll use this to make chicken soup. I don't have many people here, so the rest will be used for the lucky draw. Let's draw 5. You can only drink it if you're not on your period. Viewers who are still breastfeeding or menstruating, don't fight for it later. The medicine packs that I've mentioned today will be sold in physical stores one after another. It won't be too late to buy them and boil them into soup when you can drink them. Mama Bao and the pitiful little girl who were on her period, who happened to be listed as a taboo group, were originally a little disappointed. However, when they heard Su Yiyen's words, they were immediately reinvigorated. Buy, they had to buy. Even if they couldn't drink it now, they had to buy some and store it. Who knew if they would start to limit their purchases in the future? It was better to buy more just in case. Su Yiyen cut off the head and tail of the chicken, chopped it into pieces, and put it into the clay pot with the 4 ingredients and red dates. Then, he filled the pot with water and waited for the chicken to be stewed. Next up is the 8 treasures soup. The 8 treasures soup is actually the combination of the 4 objects and 4 monarchs from earlier. When the 2 medicines are combined together, the medicinal effect is also a combination of the 2. It is beneficial to qi and blood. It is suitable for patients who are deficient in both qi and blood because of prolonged illness, imbalance after illness, and excessive blood loss. The cooking method is similar to the previous 2. Stewed chicken or stewed pork ribs are also fine. When some viewers heard that this thing was a combination of the 2 ingredients, they subconsciously felt that this thing was better than the previous 2. My father's spleen and stomach are not very good. My mother is always sick and uncomfortable during her period. Do I only need to buy 1 set of this and it will be solved in one go? This message asked the thoughts of many people present. Su Yiyen was not surprised by this. Chapter 9:12. My advice would be to not buy it. Although this one combines the effects of 2 types of prescriptions, the medicinal cuisine is different from ordinary food. You can eat whatever you want, but you can't eat medicine. Dear audience member, you can check your parents' health conditions before buying and prescribe the right medicine. If you have both problems, you can cook it directly. But if it's only one of them, it's best to separate them. Don't try to save time and cook it all together. Going too far is as bad as falling short. When some people heard Su Yiyen's words, they realized that they were taking it for granted. The medicinal cuisine in Su Yiyen's live broadcast room tasted good, so many people treated it as food instead of medicine. They felt that no matter how much they ate, it would be beneficial to the body. This was also what Su Yiyen was most worried about. Now that Su Yiyen had explained it to them in advance, they calmed down and understood the logic behind it. They didn't think too much about it. Su Yiyen glanced at the time on the screen. Okay, we still have to barbecue later. Let's hurry up and introduce the last medicine package of today, 4 deities soup. The main ingredients of 4 deities soup are poria cocos, huaishan, lotus seed, and gorgon seed. These 4 herbs have the effect of removing dampness, so 4 deities soup is also known as a good prescription for removing dampness. Previously, I made cinnamon pork stomach soup in the live broadcast room. I added barley into the soup. Barley also has the effect of removing dampness. So, what is this dampness? There are actually 2 types of dampness here, internal dampness and external dampness. As the name suggests, it's the dampness produced by your body and the external dampness. External dampness is generally related to the living environment. The climate is cold and humid. If you stay in a place with humid air for a long time, it's easy for dampness to accumulate over time. This is why some people get rheumatism when they get older. Internal dampness is related to daily routine. People who stay up late, like to stay at home, and don't like to exercise have weak spleen and stomach. It's easy for them to produce dampness. People who have a messy schedule and don't like to take care of themselves live in a dark and damp place. When the moisture inside and outside work together, it will make people listless, have a bad appetite, and feel drowsy. Sometimes, there will even be layers of rashes on the skin, making it itchy. With Su Yiyen's explanation, many people were stunned, and many of them directly connected the dots. Every spring and autumn, there will be an especially long rainy season. Everywhere is wet, and the walls of the room will even leak water on their own. People are also lazy, sleepy, and have no appetite. I always thought it was because of the change of seasons. So it has something to do with the humidity? Rash? It was the kind of thing where one could grab a large area of red dots. It looked very scary, but once it disappeared, it would return to normal. I thought it was because of the change of seasons, but it turns out that it wasn't the case. How do I treat this? Will there be any problems with your body after a long time? Su Yiyen looked at the rapidly passing comments on the screen and patiently explained, if the humidity is lighter, it will cause some discomfort. If it's not treated, it will cause the symptoms to worsen and lead to some complications. The best treatment is to not stay up late, exercise more, and eat more food to remove dampness. For example, for God's soup, or Job's tears porridge. As Su Yiyen spoke, he boiled the pork belly that he had prepared early in water. When it hardened, he took it out and cut it into strips. He put in scallions and ginger to remove the smell, and put it into a clay pot with a few other herbs. Chapter 9:13. Su Yiyen had just put everything away when he saw a comment floating on the bullet screen. I can understand the previous ones, but why is this called Four Deities Soup? Why is it called this? Su Yiyen smiled. There's an allusion to this name. Legend has it that when an emperor was out on an inspection tour, the 4 ministers beside him fell ill before they reached their destination because they were tired from the journey and couldn't acclimatize to the environment. After that, they invited a doctor to take a look, and the doctor prescribed this 4 deities soup. Because they are 4 ministers, the 4 ministers are called the 4 gods by homonyms. The tiredness of the journey mentioned in this allusion was first pointed out that they were tired. Secondly, the place where they originally lived was the dry and hot north, and the place where they went out was the wet and cold south. They couldn't adapt for a while, and the humidity entered their bodies, causing them to fall ill. From this, it can be seen that changes in the environment have a certain impact on the human body's health, and it can't be ignored. Babies who go on business trips often need to take care of themselves. Oh right, if some people don't like the taste of gorgon, they can replace it with barley. The effect is the same. Su Yiyen covered the pot and wiped his hands with a towel. He glanced at the 4 pots of soup that still needed to be simmered for a while and smiled. Okay, the soup is ready. I'll turn off the live stream and move the camera. Let's go out for a barbecue. Su Yiyen first advertised the soup that he was going to drink today and his shop's new product before getting into the main topic, the real barbecue party. On the other hand, after confirming his guess, the aggrieved Lan Jiaye finally returned to his sister-in-law's side. Yan Xiaoran was greeting little Xingxing with her baby, and the 2 babies, who were half a year apart, started calling out to each other. There was an "ah" here and there, and it really did seem like they were having a conversation. Yan Xiaoran sensed Lan Jiaye coming over, but she didn't turn her head and asked in a low voice, "You're back? Where did you go just now?" Lan Jiaye didn't reply for a while, and Yan Xiaoran finally realized that something was wrong. She turned to look at him in confusion. She was shocked. Lan Jiaye's eyes were red, and it was obvious that he had been crying. Yan Xiaoran's expression changed slightly, and she hurried to Lan Jiaye and asked nervously, "What's wrong? Who bullied you?" "You." Yan Xiaoran was stunned. "Me? When did I bully you?" "You and my brother." The more Lan Jiaye spoke, the more aggrieved he felt. He wanted to cry even more. You clearly knew that small auntie was the host, but you didn't tell me. Don't you find it funny that I don't know anything about the main character every day and even praise her in front of her as if she's the best in the world? No, no. When Yan Xiaoran heard him say this, she knew that their concealment might have hurt Lan Jiaye's sensitive self-esteem. She hurriedly explained, this matter is more complicated. It's not what you think. We didn't mean to hide it from you, and we never wanted to see you make a fool of yourself. Halfway through her sentence, Yan Xiaoran suddenly thought of something and looked up at Lan Jiaye. Wait a minute, how can you be so sure that she's the host? Did you ask her? Before coming here, he was still confused and didn't know what to do. Now that he was so sure, there was a high chance that he had confirmed it with the person himself. Yeah. She admitted it. Yeah. Yan Xiaoran heaved a sigh of relief and said cheerfully, isn't this a good thing? Why are you crying? A good thing? Lan Jiaye was stunned. This is a good thing. Chapter 9:14. What else could it be? Think about it. Your favorite streamer is your young aunt. Compared to those celebrity fans who chase their idols until the end of the day but can't even touch their idols and can't even say a word to them, you are simply a model of idolizing your idols, okay? Besides, you call her little aunt. If we treat her well, she'll treat us well. Think about the ginseng she gave us on Grandpa's birthday. Think about the medicinal cuisine she personally gave me when I was pregnant. Think about the barbecue we're going to eat later. Which one of these wouldn't make people jealous? What else are you unhappy about? Lan Jiaye stood rooted to the ground. He was so focused on feeling wrong that his family members who doted on him the most had deliberately lied to him and ruined his image in front of his idols. He, who had lost face, did not think about this. Seeing him like this, Yan Xiaoran couldn't help but sigh. She probed, why are you so angry? Are you angry that we helped her hide it from you? Or are you disappointed that little aunt didn't live up to your expectations? No. Lan Jiaye trembled and subconsciously refuted. No what? Yan Xiaoran stared into his eyes. You're not angry that we hid it from you, or you're not angry that she's not good? She's not bad. Lan Jiaye paused and thought about it carefully. He couldn't find any fault with Su Yiyan. Very good. Since she's very good, I just didn't expect her to be someone I've known for a long time. And she's even. Nominally, she was a generation older than him. Yan Xiaoran misunderstood his meaning and gasped. Little Yi, don't tell me you're eating from the bowl and looking at the pot, and have feelings for little aunt. Lan Jiaye was stunned for a moment and immediately shuddered. Sister-in-law, what nonsense are you talking about? I have a girlfriend and little aunt is a married woman. How could I? How could I? Yan Xiaoran sized him up and made sure that he really didn't have any improper thoughts about Su Yiyan. Only then did she heave a sigh of relief. That's good. I thought you were like those husband and wife fans who chase after idols with real feelings. They clearly have boyfriends and girlfriends in real life, but they still call them husband and wife. I'm not that kind of person. I do like the streamer very much, but that kind of like is the kind of worship and admiration for powerful and outstanding people. It has nothing to do with the love between a man and a woman. Yan Xiaoran looked at Lan Jiaye, who almost swore an oath to prove his innocence. The corners of her lips lifted slightly, and she asked knowingly, are you still angry now? Lan Jiaye was silent for a moment before he said awkwardly, a little, but I'm not as angry as before. Recovered? What did you talk to young aunt about? Did you get mad at her? No, I asked her directly if she was the host. She admitted it and even apologized to me. I didn't accept her apology and ran away. She apologized to you, but you ran away before accepting it. Yan Xiaoran could not help but slap him on the back. Are you stupid? How could you run away? Aren't you always good at praising people? Now that the main character is right in front of you, why are you mute? While little Ant is still feeling a little guilty towards you, why don't you take the opportunity to ask for some fan benefits and get her to help you open the back door and get a VVV? VIP? Lan Jiaye was suddenly enlightened. He instantly felt that he had opened the door to a new world, but also felt that he had missed out on 100 million. Chapter 9:15. Su Yiyan didn't know that someone was eyeing her husband's VVV. VVV. VIP privilege. The live broadcast venue was moved to the garden courtyard in front of the family Hua's old house. Su Yiyan had specially asked someone to custom make the barbecue rack a few days ago. It was an improved version of the ancient earth barbecue rack recorded in books. Not only did it come with small wheels, but it could be pushed, pulled, and folded. It was also very eye-catching, bright, and multifunctional. In addition to the square stove on the top, there was also a small square stove on the bottom. It could completely satisfy the needs of barbecue skewers on the top and roast chicken and duck on the bottom. Ling Xiaoqi and the others had just entered the courtyard when they were attracted by the barbecue rack. They gathered around the rack and chattered. Yan, what's this rack for? It's a strange shape. It looks a bit like a box. I think it looks a bit like a cage. Look, there's a net on top. But the one at the bottom looks like a box. Look, there's even a handle. Su Yiyan listened to their discussion and explained with a smile, this is a barbecue rack. The one at the top is used to roast small things. The box at the bottom can be used to roast a whole chicken and duck. Su Yiyan originally wanted to make it bigger, like roast suckling pig and roast lamb. However, the small animals in this era were bigger than those on ancient Earth. It was really difficult to make an oven that could fit them. Therefore, Su Yiyan had no choice but to give up the idea. Even if she couldn't eat roast lamb and suckling pig, she could eat meat skewers. Su Yiyan added charcoal to the oven in front of everyone and brushed a layer of oil on the barbecue rack. Then, she reopened the live broadcast and set a limit in advance to ensure that other people's faces wouldn't appear on screen. Even if someone accidentally entered the camera, a cartoon avatar would be automatically added to protect the privacy of the person on screen. Not long ago, the viewers who had just finished watching the live stream of stewing soup saw the originally dark screen flash. The live stream was opened again, but the background had changed from the previous kitchen to an especially large and beautiful garden. This is a garden. The host's private garden. Oh my god, it's so big and beautiful. When I saw the host's previous live broadcasts, I already knew that the host was rich. Now that I've seen this garden, I'm once again sure that the host is really, really rich. Poverty limits my imagination. If I remember correctly, someone did a survey on the housing prices in City A few days ago. 1 square meter is more than 100,000 yuan. The courtyard of the streamer's house should be more than 100 square meters, right? Previous poster, you're too naive. 100,000 yuan per square meter was something that happened 2 years ago. Moreover, this price is only for ordinary buildings. You can only get it in a slightly more remote neighborhood. The host's house is obviously a private villa with its own courtyard. The price is at least 10 times higher, and it's priceless. It's basically passed down from the older generation, so it's impossible to buy it. The legacy of the older generation. So, was it true that the streamer came from a hidden big family? Previously, the host changed the background once. Many things in the kitchen seemed ordinary, but every single one of them was extremely expensive. It was really low-key and luxurious. At that time, I felt that the host had a strong background. Sure enough, sob, who gave me the courage to enter this live stream? According to the previous few people, with my small salary, I can't buy a toilet in someone's house even if I work hard for hundreds of years. Oh, no, I can't buy a brick in someone's house. Chapter 9:16. For a moment, the live broadcast room was flooded with comments. All kinds of rich haters, jealous and envious comments flew past like a speeding motor, blocking the screen. Some of the new fans even wondered if they had entered the wrong live broadcast room. Wasn't this a gourmet live broadcast room? Why were they showing off their wealth all of a sudden? Su Yiyen didn't expect that such a small courtyard could be turned upside down by this group of people. They could smell the scent of money. She didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Ahem, okay, let's continue our previous live broadcast. Today, I've prepared a barbecue for everyone. This is the barbecue rack in front of me. The fire is already lit. Let's start with the barbecue. As Su Yiyen spoke, she placed the prepared meat skewers and seafood on the rack. The charcoal fire below was already burning. After a while, a loud sizzling sound came from the rack. The meat skewers that Su Yiyen asked her family to skewer were skewers of white meat and lean meat. When the meat was roasted, the oil from the white meat seeped onto the lean meat. Not only was it not oily, but it also whetted everyone's appetite. As time passed, the aroma of the barbecue changed qualitatively the moment Su Yiyen sprinkled the seasoning. Smoke rose in spirals, accompanied by the burnt aroma of the meat skewers and seafood, quickly pervading every corner of the courtyard. Gulp! The people who had surrounded Su Yiyen excitedly to see how Su Yiyen was going to cook the barbecue swallowed their saliva at the same time as the audience sitting in front of the screen. Their burning eyes stared at the meat skewers in Su Yiyen's hands. They couldn't wait to pounce on them and take a bite to satisfy their cravings. It's almost done, Su Yiyen glanced at the meat skewers in her hands. After confirming that they were cooked, she distributed them to the people around her. This was the first time she was trying to barbecue, so there weren't many skewers. One skewer per person was definitely not enough. The men present were very gentlemanly and gave the first skewer to the girls. Lan Jiaye also wanted to give his skewer to Yan Xiaoran, but just as he handed it over, Su Yiyen stopped him. Wait, it's not suitable for you to eat spicy food now. Eat these skewers. Su Yiyen said as he passed a few skewers of meat with a little salt to Yan Xiaoran. Yan Xiaoran blinked her eyes in confusion and tried to take a bite. She found that it was similar to the barbecue meat she usually ate, but there was a little more smoky charcoal and fruit aroma, and the texture was richer. Delicious. Hearing what she said, the people around her couldn't help but swallow their saliva again. However, they hadn't fallen to the point of fighting over food with a breastfeeding mother. They raised their heads and looked at Su Yiyen. Sui Yiyen received the pitiful gazes of this group of people begging to be fed and could not help but laugh. It's good that it's delicious. Do you like to eat meat or vegetables? The ingredients are all here. If there's anything you want to eat, just tell me and I'll roast it for you. As soon as these words came out, everyone's eyes lit up. One by one, they rolled up their sleeves and excitedly went to pick the dishes. The viewers in the live stream who had just tasted the dish were not so happy. It's really delicious, but it's also really stifling. Why am I not the streamer's friend? I also want to be a guest at the streamer's house. When I think about how I can only taste it and can't even swallow it, but they can grab a few skewers and eat them all into their stomachs, the nutrient solution in my hands suddenly doesn't taste good anymore. Does the streamer still need friends? They have hundreds of millions of assets, they can sell goods, do laundry and sweep the floor. Chapter 9:17. I want to capture a local tycoon. I also want to ask the streamer what are the requirements for making friends. Someone as fair and beautiful as me, who can be both a front and an assistant, is that okay? Lan Jiaye looked at the large pile of messages asking to make friends on the screen. It was like a large-scale blind date scene. He suddenly understood what his sister-in-law had said before. A few days ago, he was still a member of the bullet screen, shouting and trying to attract the streamer's attention and eat the food she made. Now, he had become a member of the streamer's team and the target of envy and jealousy from her fans and colleagues. This feeling, was really King awesome. Lan Jiaya, who suddenly felt a lot better, followed his sister-in-law happily to pick out vegetables with a subtle sense of superiority. Hua Qinhuan walked behind Su Yiyan, hugged her waist, and asked in a low voice, "Are you hot?" "No, are you hungry?" Su Yiyan said as she looked around. After making sure that everyone's attention was not on them, she took out a few pieces of freshly grilled squid and handed them to Hua Qinhuan. "I left it especially for you. Eat it." However, she forgot that Ling Xiaoqi and the others were indeed not there, but the audience watching the live broadcast was still there. Report. The streamer used public resources for private use and secretly hid grilled squid for her husband. How can you face your friends who support and trust you? How can you face our bitter audience who can only watch but can't eat? Streamer, you're wrong. Didn't you say that you'll treat everyone equally? Why does he get special privileges? Woo, I don't accept it. Su Yiyan looked at the screen full of abused singles complaining that she opened the back door for her husband. Just as she was about to say something to comfort them, she heard the person beside her suddenly say, "It's useless to accept it." Hua Qinhuan glanced at the dense bullet screen and confidently declared her sovereignty. "Because I'm her husband." "You're not." As soon as she finished speaking, the originally dense bullet screen suddenly became much emptier. If it were not for the fact that there were still a few sporadic comments that were only faintly passing by now, Su Yiyan would have suspected that her live streaming room was lagging. After a short silence, it was followed by a blowout. "Oh, my bad temper. Tell me, do you want to fight? Although this is the truth, why does it sound like you're asking for a beating? Silently grinding teeth, draw your sword, love rival. Let's fight. The winner will be the streamer, the loser will be a lurker. Silently draw my 40-meter machete." JPG, strictly speaking, this should be the first time Hua Qinhuan appeared in the live streaming room, but the old viewers in Su Yian's live streaming room seemed to be familiar with him. However, this was the first time a certain someone appeared on screen, and he attracted a lot of hatred. Suzas, SSSSS, SSSSS, Tuzazazas. Fight? Why would I want to fight with you? Yan was originally mine. Even if I didn't hit her, she would still be mine. If that's the case, why should I fight with you? Do you have nothing better to do? After Hua Qinhuan mocked the crowd, he still felt that it wasn't enough. He took a bite of the grilled squid that Su Yiyan had specially reserved for him and enjoyed it. It's so fragrant. Like chickens and ducks, the squid of this era was also a giant. Even if you stuffed your mouth full, you could only eat half a squid leg. The squid meat was firm and chewy. With the addition of pepper, it was hot and fragrant. It was not inferior to the pork skewers from before. Chapter 9:18. After being stimulated by Hua Qinhuan's proud and straightforward public display of affection, the audience was also stimulated by Hua Qinhuan's shameless behavior. Some poor single people were so angry that they cried on the spot. Realizing that they might not be able to win against this shameless man, many viewers tactfully brought up Su Yiyan and complained on the spot. "Host, your husband is bullying us. Are you going to do something about it? Just tell us if you are going to do something about it or not." "That's right. Host, are you just going to watch your husband bully us? Didn't we agree to be each other's little cutie forever?" Su Yiyan did not expect that the fire of war would burn her head without warning. Under the meaningful gaze of her man, she decisively abandoned the rook to save the king. She coughed softly and said, "What little cutie? Don't talk nonsense. This is my little cutie. Don't bully him." Row after row of ellipses lined up, just like the cold hearts of the audience in the live broadcast room at this moment. I can't stand this grievance. I'll turn from a fan to an anti-fan for 1 minute. Host, you've changed. You're no longer the gentle, considerate, upright, and kind host from before. It's all this dog man's fault for leading you astray. It's all this dog man's fault. When you love her, you call her sweetie or cutie. When you don't love her anymore, you abandon her and throw yourself into someone else's arms. Sure enough, the heartless people in this world are all the same. What makes the host go against her conscience and ask the victim not to bully the perpetrator? It's love. What makes my eyes teary? It's my heart that has been abandoned by the host like a pair of worn-out shoes. The lively pop-up screen instantly turned into a large-scale drama scene. Su Yiyen was embarrassed and amused at the same time. She turned her head and met the eyes of her man, who seemed to be smiling yet not smiling. Little cutie. Su Yiyen's expression suddenly froze, but she quickly remembered that she was in the middle of a live broadcast. There were 7 to 8 figures of viewers in the live broadcast room staring at her. She couldn't back down. Isn't it? Huo Chenhuan saw the change in Su Yiyen's expression. How could he not see that she was pretending to be tough? Yes. Then. Huo Chenhuan pointed at his own cheek. My dear wife, won't you consider giving your little cutie a reward? Su Yiyen was stunned, and her little face turned red from her cheeks to her neck. Because of Huo Chenhuan's words, the dense bullet screen went blank for a moment. In the next few seconds, everyone in the live stream was waiting, including Huo Chenhuan. In the end, Su Yiyen couldn't resist her man's eager gaze. With a slight blush, she leaned over and kissed Huo Chenhuan lightly. Su Yiyen, who thought that he had done it very discreetly, had underestimated the effect of the live broadcast equipment. What just happened? Did you all hear that? Or is it just my imagination? You're telling me that it's a hallucination? Dead fish eyes staring at people. JPG, so it was a kiss, right? It was a kiss, right? And it was the host who took the initiative. What's with this feeling of a cabbage taking the initiative to kiss a pig? F*CK, I'm going to die from anger. A well-known female host actually did this kind of thing in the live broadcast room. Is it the degeneration of human nature or the decay of morality? I used to think that I was following a food host, but I found out that I was following a health host. When I finally accepted that I was following a health host, I found out that she was King crazy PDA host. Before a dog dies, no couple is innocent. Chapter 919. The single spectators, who had been successfully abused, cried out. The only thing that comforted them was that other than them, the other invited guests were also abused. When Lan Jiaya and the others returned from choosing their dishes, they found that there were 2 people in front of the grill instead of 1. More importantly, the 2 of them were feeding each other as they barbecued. They had turned the outdoor barbecue into a feeding contest, competing to see who could feed more. The crowd, who had been unexpectedly abused, was speechless. They were here to eat barbecue, not to eat dog food. But they had to admit that with Huo Chenhuan's participation, the speed of the barbecue sped up a lot. The crowd, who were already hungry from the first batch of barbecue, quickly got to eat the delicacies they had been longing for. They took their plates and quickly left the couple, who were showing off their affection as if there was no one else around. I actually ate the meat skewers that young master personally barbecued. Oh my God, am I dreaming? If this gets out, I don't know how many people will die of jealousy. Yu Zian looked at the 6 or 7 meat skewers in his hand. He was in disbelief, but also a little proud and complacent. Not everyone could eat the meat skewers that their young master had personally barbecued. Zhuo Yanbai glanced at Yu Zian with disdain. You've eaten young madam's food at least 3 or 4 times before. Why are you making such a fuss? How is that the same? Young madam is young madam, and young master is young master. How can you mix them up? Yu Zian turned to Gu Xiaoyang and said, Xiaoyang, pinch Yanbai and see if it's true. Oh, okay. Gu Xiaoyang was a little confused. He subconsciously reached out to pinch Sui Yanbai. Fortunately, Zui Yanbai's reaction wasn't slow. When he saw Gu Xiaoyang's outstretched hand, he retreated and avoided Gu Xiaoyang's evil claws. Wait, if you think you're dreaming, just pinch yourself. Why pinch me? It hurts to pinch myself. I'm not stupid. The veins on Zui Yanbai's forehead throbbed when he heard this. He gritted his teeth and said, "It hurts to pinch you, but doesn't it hurt to pinch me? Your skin is rough and thick, so the pain will pass. Unlike me, my skin is so tender and tender. Just a bump would bruise my skin for half a month. What's more, just a pinch." Yu Zian proudly showed off his fair right hand as he spoke. Zui Yanbai smiled coldly. Yes, yes, yes. I'm a rough-looking person. I'm 1.8 meters tall, 1.2 meters long legs, and 8 packs. She can't compare to young Master Yu, who has been eating fresh flowers and drinking dew since he was young. Yu Zian's. And enough, you two. Stop arguing. Is the barbecued meat not fragrant enough, or are young master and young madam too tolerant? How dare you make trouble in young master's house? I think you're too arrogant. Gu Xiaoyang's words reminded them of their situation. They, who had been bickering with each other, suddenly became weak. They sat down reluctantly, but they didn't intend to forgive each other. Humph. Gu Xiaoyang looked at the two of them, who turned their faces away and ate without looking at each other. He had a splitting headache and felt that he was in a difficult position. Chapter 920. On the other hand, Ning Xiyuan was obsessed with taking photos and videos of the grilled meat and vegetables on his plate. What are you doing? Ling Xiaoqi was a little confused by the scene. Although taking photos before eating was not a girl's privilege, Ning Xiyuan did not look like someone who would do such a thing. I'm taking photos and sending them to my brother. Your brother? Ling Xiaoqi had heard Ning Xiyuan mention his family's situation before. She knew that he had a younger brother who was a celebrity and seemed to be from Su Yiyan's company. He went out of town to film a variety show 2 days ago and will only be back after a week. I heard that the place is relatively remote and the conditions are very difficult. He can't eat or sleep well, so he has to do everything himself. Ning Chirue had indeed taken on a variety show recently. He claimed that he was going to experience life in the most beautiful places in the country. When Ning Chirue heard the words, "the most beautiful place," he excitedly packed up his things and ran over. When he arrived, he suffered a critical blow from reality. The scenery was beautiful, but the living conditions were too backward. Ning Chirue was beaten up by reality on his first day there. There was really nothing in the place. Not only did he live in a straw hut, he could not even buy a good nutrient solution, which forced Ning Chirue to gnaw on tree bark. Not only that, but the fans nowadays also loved to see the miserable looks of big celebrities. They claimed that they wanted to uncover the unknown side of the celebrities and let everyone see the contrast between them and the celebrities. For the sake of that little bit of ratings, the production team had put in a lot of effort to train them. Ning Chirue had only been gone for 2 days, but when he contacted them, he was no longer in the high spirits and enthusiasm he had before he left. All that was left was deep regret and bitter tears. The younger brother was suffering and starving far away, while the older brother was eating and drinking well at the boss's house. One could imagine how devastated Ning Chirue would be after seeing these photos and videos. Ling Xiaoqi heard the gloating in Ning Xiyuan's words and said with a subtle expression, "You're too bad." When Ning Xiyuan heard Ling Xiaoqi's words, he was not angry but happy. He smiled slyly and said, "It's good that you're bad." Isn't there a saying that women don't like bad men? Ling Xiaoqi didn't expect him to say such a sentence. She was stunned for a while before she reacted. She raised her eyebrows and said, "Why? Do you want other women to love you too?" "I just need a little kitten to love me." Ling Xiaoqi blushed. It was Ning Xiyuan who saved her when they first met. After that, Ning Siyuan personally sent her home. After they got together, Ling Xiaoqi did ask him why he fell in love with her. Ning Siyuan's explanation was, love at first sight. At that time, you were frightened and looked at me pitifully like a homeless kitten. From then on, the term, little kitten, became a tacit little secret between the two of them. Ning Siyuan's sudden mention of it was like a critical hit to Ling Xiaoqi. How could she still care about Ning Siyuan's teasing words? When Hua Hua followed the smell of meat skewers to find her owner, she saw such a scene. Her owner blushed and sat in her seat in a daze. Then, she seemed to have thought of something and looked up to glare at the person beside her. Hua Hua knew that her master's use of two-legged words was called anger from embarrassment. She was embarrassed and not really angry. Chapter 921. Not only was his master's boyfriend not angry at being glared at, he was also not afraid. He only looked at his master dotingly. It was clearly just eye contact without any physical contact, but it made people feel that they were compatible. Just by looking at them, it made people feel that nothing could come between them. Hua Hua stared at the two for a while, then turned and ran away without alarming anyone. Dun Dun watched his wife run away. He was squatting in the corner of the yard next to the dog hole, drawing circles. He was just about to take the initiative to look for his wife. Then he realized that his wife had run back on her own. Woof woof, woof woof woof. Dun Dun's spirits were lifted. He happily rushed over and ran in circles around Hua Hua. What was unexpected was that Hua Hua, who would usually impatiently slap him down, didn't do anything this time. Instead, she silently allowed a certain someone to have fun. Hua Hua raised its chin slightly and glanced at the silly dog who was trying hard to please it. Isn't he just a silly husband? Who doesn't have one? Humph. This prawn is delicious. I specially asked them to buy prawns with more meat. I've also picked out the prawns so you can eat them. Su Yiyan handed a few grilled prawns to Hu Chenhuan. Hu Chenhuan did not eat immediately after receiving them. Instead, she took out one of the prawns, peeled the shell, and handed it to Su Yiyan. Su Yiyan did not hesitate and ate it in one bite. Hu Chenhuan smiled slightly and continued peeling the shell. When the second prawn was handed over, Su Yiyan was unwilling to eat it. You eat too. Don't just feed me. It's inconvenient for you to have something on your hands. Su Yiyan still did not eat. Hu Chenhuan's eyes flashed when she saw this. She moved closer to Su Yiyan and threatened her, if you don't eat obediently, do you want me to kiss you in front of so many people? Su Yiyan was stunned and glared at a certain someone who was extremely daring. The audience in the live broadcast room heard this and exploded. Did I hear wrongly? Did the streamer's husband just say he wanted to kiss the streamer? That's right. What's with not eating obediently? Is he treating the streamer as a child and coaxing her? Oh my, why is it a little cute and a little sour? Come on. Kiss, kiss, kiss. I'll kiss you now. I'll kiss you immediately. I'm not a man if I don't kiss you. That's right. What's the point of flirting? If you're a man, take action. The streamer took the initiative to kiss you before. How can you not kiss her back? Kiss back, kiss back, kiss back. It could be seen that the audience had gradually calmed down after being abused by the two of them. If they didn't want to be abused, the best way was to take the lead and support the couple. If you dare to show off, I'll support you. Who's afraid of who? Su Yiyan's expression was erratic. At a glance, she saw the comments that were all over the screen encouraging Hu Chenhuan to kiss her. The corner of her mouth twitched slightly, and she was secretly speechless at these people's desire to see the world in chaos. Just as she was about to turn off the bullet screen, out of sight, out of mind, she heard Hu Chenhuan's low chuckle. It seems that they all want me to kiss you. Su Yiyan was shocked. When she turned her head, she realized that Hu Chenhuan had unknowingly moved closer to her and had a panoramic view of the comments floating by on the bullet screen. Those words on the bullet screen were clearly not from her, but Su Yiyen still felt inexplicably ashamed that she had been caught by Leng Wuji. In order to regain some face for herself, Su Yiyen snorted coldly and pretended to be angry. Do you do what they say? Do you feel that whether you kiss me or not depends on whether other people want to kiss me or not, and not whether you want to kiss me or not? Here she is, a tsundere streamer who says one thing and means another. Chapter 922. TSK, if the host's husband dares to say no, he'll have to kneel on the washboard when he goes back. Don't ask me how I know, this is a lesson learned by blood. Vicissitudes of life lighting up smoke. JPG, host, kissing me depends on other people's opinions. Do you want to kiss me, or do the audience want to kiss me? Upstairs, although we really want to kiss the host, we can't, right? We can only reluctantly let the host's husband do it for us. Aya, why haven't you kissed me yet? I've prepared the nutrient solution, I'm just waiting to see the two of you kiss. The screen was full of comments encouraging Hu Chenhuan, but to everyone's surprise, after reading these comments, Hu Chenhuan was unwilling to kiss in front of so many people. She narrowed her eyes and sneered. It's mine, I won't let you see it. My wife, can't I kiss you anytime? Why do I have to kiss you people? I won't. When we get off the stream, we can kiss however we want. It's just the two of us, no one can see. It was just a few words, but it made the audience, who had wanted to watch a good show, angry. Aya, I'm so angry that I'm laughing. We can't even see your faces, we can't even hear your voices. Sob sob sob, I used to think that the host's husband was very good, rich and doting on his wife. After hearing this, I'm disillusioned. Good my ass, this is a stingy person. This isn't stingy, it's possessiveness. The host's husband is declaring his sovereignty to us. Dog head, so, why do I have to torture myself here? The hosts in other streaming rooms are so sweet. They spend more money and show their faces if they want to, and act cute if they want to. But here. It's fine if I can't see their faces, but I get angry so easily. I'm depressed. Our host doesn't lack money. If we really spend money and ask the host to do this and that, our streaming room would have been flooded with all kinds of gifts long ago. Have you forgotten the famous scene where the top dad was warned by the host in the battle with the new boss not long ago? Su Yiyen's heart skipped a beat when she saw this comment. She looked at Hu Chenhuan as if she sensed something. No wonder a certain someone was so clingy today. This was the first time he appeared in her streaming room. Previously, when he was not online, he could only compete with Do Tianyi in the live stream channel by throwing money to win the other party. It was not easy to show off their love openly. It was not only to reveal their true feelings, but also to warn those who were hiding behind the screen, including Do Tianyi. Su Yiyen was taken. Whoever dared to lay their hands on her should be prepared to be chopped off by him. Understanding this, Su Yiyen could not help but reveal a sweet smile on her face. At this moment, Lan Minghan, who had rushed back to the company to deal with some matters and missed a lot of delicious food, finally arrived. As soon as he entered the door, he saw the two of them being lovey-dovey. He couldn't help but cough lightly to make his presence felt. You're here. Yan Xiaorant's eyes lit up when she saw her husband. She got up and ran over to welcome him. Where's the child? She's playing with Auntie's baby inside. Have the company's matters been settled? Are you hungry? It's all settled. As for whether he was hungry or not, Lan Minghan's gaze subconsciously drifted to the fragrant skewers in Su Yiyen's hands. The meaning behind his gaze was self-evident. Su Yiyen was very familiar with Lan Minghan's gaze. She handed the skewers in her hands to Hu Chenhuan and smiled slightly. You came at the right time. If you came any later, the delicious food would have been gone. Immediately, Everyone saw Su Yiyen bend over and open the small oven below. She used a pair of pliers to pull out a large black lump that seemed to be charred. Chapter 923. Lan Jiaye was originally a curious baby. As soon as the black ball rolled out, he spontaneously went over to poke it. "Don't move, it's still very hot. Do you want to cook your little hoof?" Lan Jiaye was shocked. He silently lowered his head to look at his white and slender little hoof, and sullenly withdrew his hand. "It seems to be soil." "Soil?" Lan Mingan's expression suddenly became subtle. This was what little Aunt meant by delicious food. Could it be that she wanted him to eat soil? Was he going to eat or not? Lan Minghan was instantly caught in a dilemma. Su Yiyen was oblivious to Lan Mingan's inner struggle. He took a small hammer and hit the black ball. With a crack, the outer layer of soil cracked open, revealing the yellowed lotus leaves inside. "There's something inside." Lan Jiaye's eyes lit up slightly, like a child who had found a special toy. Su Yiyen reached out to take the thing out of the soil, but was stopped by Hu Qinhuan. "Let me." Hu Qinhuan said as he took out the thing and put it on the table beside him before Su Yiyen could. Su Yiyen took his hand and glanced at it. After making sure that it wasn't scalded, he walked over and cut the rope that tied the lotus leaves. He lifted the lotus leaves that were wrapped in several layers, and a roasted chicken appeared in front of everyone. Su Yiyen tried to poke the chicken with chopsticks. The chicken's belly was immediately poked open, revealing all kinds of spices, shrimps, diced meat, mushrooms, bamboo shoots, and other side dishes hidden in the belly. The fragrance that was locked inside was also completely released. This is called beggar's chicken. According to legend, a beggar, who was a beggar, accidentally got a chicken, but he didn't have any spices. Helpless, he could only throw the chicken into the fire to roast it. But the one I made is an improved version. I added some ingredients and side dishes. Before I covered it with mud, I wrapped it with many layers of lotus leaves so that it won't get dirty even if it's covered with mud. The lotus leaves are the leaves of the lotus. Previously, I said that the lotus is a treasure. There are lotus seeds in the lotus pod, and there are lotus roots at the bottom. The flowers, lotus roots, and lotus seeds can all be eaten. The lotus leaves can also be used to wrap some food and cook it with flavor. Speaking of this, Su Yiyen drew a big picture for everyone present. The beggar's chicken is just one of the cooking methods. Next time, I'll make lotus leaf glutinous rice chicken for you. It's also very delicious. Although the audience present and the live stream viewers did not know what the lotus leaf glutinous rice chicken looked like, many of them were already craving it after hearing what Su Yiyen said. "Moss. Auntie, can we eat this now?" Lan Jiaye almost blurted it out as he looked at Su Yiyen eagerly. "That's enough." Everyone's eyes lit up. They couldn't wait to attack. But considering that there were other people around and that they were in the live stream, they resisted this impulse. They scurried around and found the chopsticks. Finally, they reached out their evil claws to the chicken filled with the sinful aroma. The chicken skin on the surface of the chicken had become fresh, thin, and soft because of the long-term roasting. When they ate it, they could even taste a faint burnt aroma. The fragrance of the lotus leaves slowly penetrated into the chicken during the roasting process, making the chicken crispy, fat, and tender. The lotus fragrance assailed their nostrils. Coupled with the various seasonings and side dishes inside, everyone was mesmerized by the taste after just one bite. "How is it? Is it delicious?" Su Yiyen asked subconsciously when she saw that they didn't speak after eating. Chapter 924. This question brought everyone back to their senses. Lan Jiaye was her fan to begin with. Now that a fan had appeared and even had the chance to eat the delicious meal that his idol had personally cooked, he couldn't hold back his belly full of praise. "Delicious, delicious, very delicious." I've never eaten such delicious chicken in my life. It's obviously covered in soil, but there's no earthy taste at all. There's only the fragrance of the leaves. The outer layer is crispy, fragrant, and a little sweet. The chicken isn't as dry as the barbecue meat I've eaten before. Instead, it's very tender. I feel like the meat is going to melt in my mouth. It's so delicious. Lan Jiaya's outburst stunned everyone, and it also made the audience in the streaming room temporarily shift their attention away from the food. 666. What kind of celestial brother is this? He actually said all the things I wanted to say but didn't know how to say. I'll give you a like. Streamer, tell me honestly. To be your friend, do I have to learn how to flatter first? If so, I'll go and learn right now. How is this flattery? It's the truth, okay? If I can eat a meal cooked by the streamer, I can totally write a 3,000-word review of flattery. Hurry up and let me do it. TSK. I was originally quite happy because I ate a lot of good food today, but when I heard this brother's flattery, I instantly felt that the chicken in my hand wasn't delicious anymore. Sob sob sob, for the 11,220th time, I want to be the streamer's friend and eat a meal cooked by the streamer. Touch the person above. Go to sleep. There's everything in your dreams. After Lan Jiaya finished speaking, he realized that he had lost his composure. When he met the surprised and confused gazes of the people around him, he froze on the spot as if a bucket of cold water had been poured on him. Lan Minghan could understand his brother's feelings. Ahem, Jiaya is right. This chicken is indeed delicious. It's better than what I've eaten before. The others reacted and hurriedly echoed, yeah, yeah. Although the barbecue just now was also delicious, the taste is different from that one. They both have their own advantages. It's hard to choose. Eat more if it's delicious. There's no need to choose. It wasn't easy to invite you all here. How can I let you all go home hungry? As Su Yiyen spoke, he glanced at Yan Xiaoran and smiled faintly. If you feel that it's a bit too much to eat only vegetables and meat, there's some porridge in the kitchen. It's not bad. Yan Xiaoran received Su Yiyen's gaze and was startled. She quickly realized that the beggar's chicken and porridge were not specially prepared for her. The barbecue didn't have any seasonings like pepper. On the contrary, the beggar's chicken was sweet and delicious to her. It was neither salty nor bland, which suited her taste. When they heard that there was porridge to Yan's to be had to eat a bowl. The beggar, to eat, the beggar eat, barbecue, to eat, barbecue, eat. The to eat, to the stream, to eat, to the point, to eat, s asterisk asterisk to the asterisk asterisk. To the asterisk. When they were almost done eating, Su Yiyen temporarily gave the barbecue position to Hu Chenhuan. He returned to the small kitchen to check on the stewed soups. After a few hours of stewing, the soups were already very tasty. When the lids were lifted, the house was filled with the unique smell of medicinal herbs. It wasn't very fragrant, but it wasn't bad either. Especially the 4-ingredient stewed chicken. When the lid was lifted, the smell rushed to the tip of the nose and lingered for a long time. It was hard to ignore. Chapter 925. Next, let's draw a prize. Streamer, can you draw some barbecue for free? I want to eat it. There's also beggar's chicken. I want to eat beggar's chicken. Looking up to the sky and crying out loud. JPG, I'm sorry. For barbecue, the ingredients prepared today are basically used up. I really can't give it away. Everyone. Were those guys pigs? They could eat so much. But on second thought, if they could be invited to the streamer's home as guests like them and eat the dishes made by the streamer, even if their stomachs burst, they wouldn't be willing to let go of any delicious food. I can give away one beggar's chicken. I just put 2 or 3 in. I didn't eat much, so there should be 1 left. Let's draw a lucky audience to give it to me. No matter how good a person's appetite was, the capacity of the stomach was limited. Ling Xiaoqi and others ate a lot of barbecue and porridge. Although the chicken was delicious, they couldn't eat it all. At least there was 1 left. 1. Oh my God, did I hear it wrong? It's a whole one, not a piece of meat or a leg. It's a whole one. Streamer, look at me. I'm a loyal fan of the streamer. I've watched all of the streamer's previous live broadcasts, and I've given rewards for each one. For the sake of my love for you, please give me the prize. Get out of here. Why are you playing the emotional card at this time? What's so great about being an old fan? We're also old fans of the streamer. We've watched all of the streamer's live broadcasts. As for the rewards, if you have the ability, you can compete with the top one on the list. Let's see if he can beat you to death. Jade Emperor, Queen Mother, God, Jesus, Zeus, Apollo, and all the gods above. I'm willing to exchange my fat for this barbecue chicken. Please, please let me be the winner. Although according to the usual practice, there would be a lot of people cramming in the bullet screen at the last minute and praying for a lucky draw, it was the first time Su Yayan had seen so many people spamming the bullet screen as enthusiastically as today. It could be seen how charming this whole chicken was. However, no matter how these people begged, there was only 1 lucky person after all. Congratulations to the lucky audience, Yeye Hometown Ming, for getting a beggar's chicken. Please send me a private message as soon as possible. The prize will be sent out in a few minutes. Please check it carefully. As soon as Su Yiyan's voice fell, the man sitting in front of the office computer jumped up and said excitedly, I got it. I got it. No, it's me, he he he. This lucky audience member is you? The big boss's voice came from behind her. Only then did Li Yu realize that she had been too excited and yelled in front of the big boss. His face, which had been flushed with excitement, turned pale. Dou Tianyi saw that he did not speak for a long time. His eyes narrowed dangerously as he said coldly, Don't make me ask a second time. Li Yu was shocked and quickly said, It's my sister's account. I borrowed it. Your sister's number? Dou Tianyi's mind flashed, and a look of understanding flashed across his face. A long time ago, someone had mentioned that a large proportion of the lucky audience members in Su Yiyan's live broadcast room were female accounts. Few male accounts could get the patronage of the goddess of luck. For this reason, there were even people who questioned whether Su Yiyan had adjusted the probability of male and female accounts to discriminate against male accounts. However, not long after this question was posted, it was blocked by the website for deliberately slandering the host. The audience in Su Yiyan's live broadcast room did not feel anything. After all, the lucky draw relied on a bit of luck. You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.